And howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon. I'm Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master. We've been off for a week, so it's a little strange. But joining me, as always, we have Matt, Miles, Ali, and Tina. Thank you very much for those of you who stuck through our brief technical issues. We're not actually sure that they're done. We may be dropping some frames. We're not really sure. We're gonna do what we can. A couple of announcements to get through before we get started truly. We have Dicey Encounters. Thank you very much for creating all of our, custom dice, which are so fantastic and wonderful. And we will be getting upgraded ones pretty soon now that we are all officially level 10, which is fantastic.
Oh my god.
We have a couple cool things that are coming along. Yes, Snoring is now a beast. Also, we wanted to thank our artist, Erica Volova, who you can find at Frederica Volova on Instagram. Erica, thank you so much for all of the art that you've done. We now have updated art for all of our characters for level 10. That was during our interim. You'll see it during the break. But super, super cool stuff. And then also we have a store. So go check out the store. There's a link to it down below. There is actually a sale right now because it is, the spring and it's tea season. So the code tea season will get you 30% off. So use that while you can. For a couple of you, there's been some shirts that have been sent out. Talon, your shirt is in the mail now. And
there today, actually.
Oh, so maybe you have it already. But if not, it is in the mail. And then for Matt, not you, Matt, but a different Matt, your shirt went out today. Your tank top went up today. So super cool stuff. And then always, we use Sirenscape for our sound effects, for the music that you hear, with the exception of our theme song, which was done by 1000 Take Wonder or 100 Take Wonder. I have to double check, I forget.
I think 100.
100 Take Wonder.
Yeah.
On Reddit. So check them out. They do really, really awesome custom themes and music and all that kind of stuff. Super, super cool and worth checking out. And then also one final announcement. I am, of course, wearing this shirt, which is for another stream, Fateful Encounters. So definitely check them out. They have an awesome DM. They do a lot more virtual, digital kind of stuff, but really, really cool to see that kind of tool set. But now that we have gotten through all of the announcements, we can go into our recap. So give me one sec to pull this up.
What, the cool, awesome, giant Morrowind?
Ali, do you have an announcement you would like to make?
So now,
Looking at our
you're on the
battle
spot.
cam, you can see there has been crocheted an actual version of Morrowind done by our very own Tina. We'll be seeing the crocheted versions of the entire Finger Gang. Pop that's right in that camera.
Just right in his face. That's cool.
Sorry.
But so Morrowind, super, super cool. Awesome detail. We'll post some stuff up on Instagram about it later. And you will see the other ones as they come. But now that that's over, thank you, Ali.
So funny.
Classic.
When we last played, the Finger Gang found themselves in the third story of the Frostmare Inn, outside of a door through which permeated the scent of rot and decay. Very familiar to all of you, but especially you, Heinrich. Upon entering the door, you found these twisted, decayed versions of various enemies slain by your blade, back when you were still a Hexblade Warlock in the service of Azra, the goddess of rot. You fought your way through with Heinrich actually dying at one point during the battle.
Literally that.
But with some incredible use of a long-standing, habit of going through your friends' belongings. Sleep or missing. Gunter knew exactly where the diamonds were needed to cast Revivify, bringing Heinrich back from the brink of death.
No, past the threshold.
Yeah, past the threshold of death, really. So, with a thunderous explosion of energy from Cord, every window in the facility shattering outward, Heinrich was brought back to life. With Era's help, Shay, you were able to finally finish off Tasada, the Queen of the Mists, the leader of the Cortego, the tyrant of the long ago sunken and once almost resurfaced Abyssal Mistvale.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
Yeah, I think we were having that issue every single time we said it.
Yeah, Abyssal Mistvale. That's my fault. I named it.
I
You took one more night to find some rest. Gunter, you actually finding rest through a interesting variation of the Feign Death spell. You, per costume, slept with Morrowind, who trying to figure out if you were actually dead or not, did spit in your eye and kind of rub it around to keep him well lubricated.
Got your back, bro.
Shay and Heinrich, you guys slept at Shay's house, the very Spartan, somewhat underutilized space, and then in the morning went and recruited Kroddick for your journey, the Aarakocran monk that was a childhood friend of Shay's. You guys went to Gamble's junkyard, behind his massive workshop with pulleys and buckets and gears and all kinds of things moving on, behind which is a veritable junkyard of broken and otherwise disused machinery that Gamble at some point had experimented with and perhaps found it didn't work. Amongst those things is the Iron Hawk, a massive metal dissension device, we'll call it. Not ever having actually successfully completed a descent or a fall of any kind. However, Gunter, you and Master Gamble did put a significant amount of effort into refitting and reforming this to look more like an aerodynamic shape, more like an Iron Hawk. And despite the fact that
falling bowl.
despite the fact that several of you have nearly died from falls, we ended our session last week with you being pushed over the edge in an iron chicken to a 15,000 foot fall, which is where we begin. So,
Round 3.
Get that wind up.
before I start, a couple things I want to say about how this is going to work. You guys, okay. So you guys, at this point, it's a 15,000 foot fall. In total, it will take just over a minute. Things are going to happen very quickly. All of you have a role to play. Things can go very well, or they could go very wrong. Allie, you're going to be rolling for Kroddick at the time where you guys will have your maneuver, but we'll get there when we get there. For the moment, give me one moment to pull up
I
some
don't want to be
names.
responsible for his death.
You're responsible for him
Can we go
jumping.
over everyone's roles again?
Responsible for
If you guys want to, I would do it now.
Yeah.
I'm the eyes, right?
Yeah. It's you and I like captaining. I'm second in command and I'll run around and help wherever I can, I guess.
And then Kroddick and I are the wangs.
Yeah.
And you're the tail.
I'm in the back. She's the caboose.
Yeah.
The
So you
caboose.
steer more or less, and you guys provide like lift and tilt, and we have to see where we're going.
So,
And I'm not doing anything I'm not told to do.
Good.
as you guys shift, these blocks being taken away from the ramp and this thing, you can hear the creak of metal as it shifts over, and then suddenly the shift in gravity just jostles your stomach. You immediately lurch forward and it slams into you harshly into the stations that you've situated yourselves. The welded armor plates cushioning a little bit with the leather that Gunter and Master Gamble added, but all at once the wind just tears at your eyes. Your vision gets blurry. Heinrich, your vision does not.
Dope.
Remembering what Gamble told you as the air screams by, Shay, you ready yourself by the tail lever, which can be pushed up and down. What do you do?
Trying to hold it steady, I guess.
Okay. Go ahead and make a Constitution check.
That is 19.
19. Okay. So trying to keep it steady, you can see going by you now very, very quickly. You can see the peak kind of beginning to widen out. And you manage to hold this lever steady. The wind that pushes past you, like buffeting into these large sails, you on the sail actually feel your arm lurch forwards, like struggling to hold these levers. You can see Kroddick next to you, similarly maintaining, but having a little bit more difficulty, his broken wing seeming to add to the difficulty for him. You would imagine as this rushes past, you can see the mountain getting closer and closer to the craft. You're going to have to manipulate this in some way to pull this craft away.
Great.
What
We're
are you
going to
doing?
go up.
Okay, go ahead and make a dexterity, at this distance, a dexterity saving throw.
Like holding onto Gunter's shoulder.
18?
Just like
Okay. Slowly. And I mean, you almost can feel the stones scrape the bottom as it goes. You manage to push the lever up, and the plane, the Iron Hawk, begins to pull away. You can feel this pressure increase as the G-forces push you back into the seat.
Oof.
But you manage to pull away slightly, and coming towards you now rapidly of this layer of clouds. Pulling away somewhat from the mountain quickly, the improved structure does seem to carry a little bit better. And so instead of falling quickly, you begin to pull away a little bit faster. And you can feel, if you wanted, Morwen, you could manipulate the plane in a way to keep you going straight. Or you can continue to plunge down and try to hit the cloud cover at an angle. What do you want to do?
And go straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Go ahead and make for me
Hold it steady.
make 2 dexterity checks. One is for you and one is for Krodek.
Oh, sorry, didn't see. I'll choose the black sparkly to
Okay,
be mine.
great.
Oh, they're both 17.
Oh my god.
Okay.
No, really.
So
Well, what's the
I
total?
verify.
there is a...
Okay, so mine
Is-
would be
yeah.
dexterity saving. Mine's a 26.
Okay.
And then 17 plus whatever Krodek got.
Phenomenal. So dynamically, in this show of unity, you make eye contact with Krodek, and Krodek, his very bird-like face, he can make eye contact with you. And suddenly, you both make the exact same motions. And as you hit into the cloud
We're
cover,
meant for each
you
other.
actually feel the entire craft jerk back. You push down as Krodek pulls up, and as the whole craft begins to spin, you straighten out. You very skillfully maneuver this thing through. Every time the wind shifts, Krodek is there on the other side, catching it at the exact same time that you are. And you guys manage very, very carefully to descend through this thick cloud cover. And bursting forward from it, I need everybody to make a perception check.
Am I still rolling for product?
No, I'll roll for Krodek for this.
23.
Okay.
15.
Just the 11.
16.
Okay. From your position, it's hard to see anything. You're on the tail of this craft. And so looking through, there are a lot of you know this territory fairly well. You can see that there is this flicker of arcane activity, but not. It's visible just through the snow, often to your right, this glint of gold. But from where you are, it's difficult to make out. There is no real window. You're seeing it all the way down the craft. You said 16?
Yeah.
Okay. Heinrich, what did you roll?
11.
15.
Okay. So, with that, you can now see very, very little, the three of you. Up front, you can see gray, and every now and then scraping elements of rock that go by. And they're going, you notice, faster and faster. You're definitely picking up speed. Other than that, you see no landmarks. And for those of you who are in charge of steering the craft, that presents you with a very difficult decision. What do you want to do?
So there's no definition of anything anywhere?
Every now and then, all of a sudden, just you'll see just chunks of rock and edges of cliff
How
just go by.
close are they?
So far, not terribly. Maybe 100 feet away, but it's difficult to see. I mean, the wind
Right.
is shifting snow around. You are in the midst of a blizzard. You don't see the ground yet.
Right.
It's steady.
Are you saying
Can
that
we
out
go
loud
a
to
little
all of us?
lower? I mean, it narrows the passing away, but maybe can get a little bit of better visual since we're in the cloud, right?
I say we stay in the cloud until we naturally descend.
Okay, so yeah, steady as she goes.
Steady as she goes.
Okay.
That was said with a look of panic into each other's eyes. Steady as she goes.
No way. Steady. Yeah.
You gotta maintain. So to maintain your course, I need you and Krodek again to make dexterity checks.
They both rolled the same number again, and they're both a 4 this time.
So what's the total?
Oh, not a save throw, just a check.
Yeah, just to check.
Mine is a 9.
Okay. And Krodek's, what did you roll a 4?
Yeah.
That's so weird. They both
That's
rolled
very
the same
strange.
again.
I mean, you guys are in unison,
Guys.
so it's cool.
Me and Krodek are soulmates.
As you try to maintain, you hear just over the wind Heinrich and Gunter shout out, just maintain, what did you say? He said,
Steady as she goes.
steady as she goes. And you try, but as the wind begins to pick up, you are still within cloud cover and you are in a blizzard. There's a moment where you and Krodik just do the exact wrong thing. As you push up, he pulls down, and you hear this as the metal begins to shear behind you. I would say, Shay, from your position, you can see maybe about 5 feet in front of you, you see white as the metal itself has begun to separate. You would imagine if something like this happens again, you guys are going to begin to fall very quickly.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the two of you make a perception check.
Yeah. I'm already holding on to him too. We're doing like that, like kind of like Goonies, like.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
That was terrible.
Ooh, natural 20.
We'll take his because I can't. Yeah.
Okay. Heinrich, you're having trouble seeing. While your vision is not as clouded as everybody else, you don't feel like the wind in your eyes necessarily causing you pain. There's a lot going on, and you're trying to communicate with everybody else.
Yeah.
It's hard to see. Gunter, you now like slowly scanning the horizon as Heinrich communicates behind you. Very much like a hawk, actually, aboard the Iron Hawk. You see beneath you, just barely, and not all the time, just as the wind shifts just the right way, there are elements of snow. It's hard to see at first, and then the snow all at once begins to kind of vanish, and you can see stone again. You see elements of water, actually liquid, almost like very, very shallow rivulets. And I would say at this point you can actually even smell a little bit of sulfur rising up. You would imagine, given the information that you have, this is the Bone Meadow. The area in which you are probably going to land. You are still about, you're about 5,000 feet up. You're cruising, and you are descending a little bit, but not by much. You're maintaining a pretty good trajectory. However, looking off to your right, you see sort of what Shay saw, this glint of gold, now kind of behind you. And as the wind shifts a little bit more, you can see this golden dome, which you would recognize as the top of Colteron.
Oh. And that's to our right.
It's to your right, and it's kind of like beginning to fade behind you now.
Turn right!
Can we
you
drop
doing?
and turn right?
I
mean,
am
I
paying
think we're
attention to
just
directions. I'm not.
Okay.
If that's
Yeah.
what I'm being told. I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
do
you're turning
it.
right?
Yeah.
Make a dexterity check for me.
Just me?
Yep.
Okay.
Not Krodik?
It depends on the
It's
side
just
of the
my
wing.
wing.
Oh, because you're on the left, yeah. My dude.
It's a 10.
Okay. You hear Gunter scream out to go right. Okay. So you attempt to do this thing, and as you do, the wind
Is it a
almost
save
seems...
or a check?
Check.
Damn, can you make them save? I'm really hurt.
Well, we have to be in more danger.
The wind seems to slam down, and even as you try to turn correctly, the sail is almost ripped, and like you feel the lever leave your hands. And for a brief moment, you go down. You drop 100, 200 feet. Anybody doing anything?
To pull,
Try to
like
grab
keep
it.
it.
Make a dexterity check
Yeah.
for me.
Check or save.
Make a strength save. Make a dexterity check.
Natural 20!
Okay.
5.
Okay.
I'm gonna get over. I'm gonna see Morin struggling. I'm gonna see Morin struggling. I'm gonna like run over and try to help. Like.
Okay.
Because are we strapped
also
in?
gonna-
You are not.
Yeah. So we're not strapped in. So I'm gonna like make my way over to just give a little bit of assistance.
Okay.
I'm
one
Not
moment.
in this moment,
Sure.
for the future.
So, as you guys roll these things, go ahead. What you were going to say?
No, I rolled the same number twice again. This is really freaking me out. Like,
That's
I know
3
it's a little
times in a
different
row.
from that other situation, but like,
That-
I'm only doing dudes.
No, that's weird.
I wish
you-
it wasn't a 5, but yeah.
It is unfortunate. So, as you have this thing leave your hands and you begin, suddenly Shay behind you muscles through this lever and you feel yourself begin to lift, but because the sail is away from you, suddenly you spin and you're upside down. I need everybody
okay.
to make dexterity saving throws, please.
Am I rolling?
I got Krodik for this. Krodik's
Hey.
great.
All right. 22.
Okay.
11.
20. Sorry. 21.
25.
25? Okay. Gunter, as you slam into the ceiling, which is now on the floor, you take 6 points of force damage. However, the rest of you manage to hang on to your seats or elements of the struts or bits of leather, somehow securing yourself as suddenly the entire world shifts around. You are now upside down and you are still descending, although you've slowed. What do you want to do?
We gotta right ourselves. We gotta right ourselves.
Am I like on the ground now?
You're on the ceiling. You're on the roof. As
So
if it
you're
is a
Which
looking-
ship.
is the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're not just like still in our seats like a roller coaster.
You guys are all clinging on.
Yeah.
You guys are in your seats.
Yeah.
He is on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Because he did not make his save. So
Oh.
More and Croddick, we got to adjust back
I'm
up.
gonna try to get myself up so I can like see what the hell is going
okay,
on.
make an athletics check.
Wait, so question on this like contraption?
Yes.
Is it like indoors? Like could he fly out? if
Yes,
we-
absolutely. Because you put windows in.
That's
Temporarily
athletics
adjusting
check.
for up, for down.
Dexterity
like
check.
compensating.
Yep.
That's a 3.
For athletics?
Dexterity check.
23.
9.
9, okay. 23. So Shay slams the lever in the opposite direction, not anticipating that Morwen is also going to do a very similar thing on her sail. You do manage to right yourself, but in doing so, you dip almost straight down. You begin to go into a free fall, spinning, ending up going roughly righting. Gunter, you roof, floor, roof, floor.
No.
You impact 4 times.
Can I try to grab him?
Make an athletics check.
Yeah, I feel like as soon as the first one, like, there'd be at least one hit.
Make an athletics check.
And then, yeah. I'm just trying to like, catch him. Oh, shit, what up? 20.
Okay, so
No, wait, 19. 19.
ground, roof, and then suddenly Heinrich reaches out and manages to grab onto you. And he pulls you hard.
Yeah.
You're holding onto the ship
Alright,
with one
stop
hand
hitting yourself.
and Gunter with the other hand. And it hurts, but you manage to stop him.
Okay.
Gunter, you take 14 points of force damage, halved to 7, with help from Heinrich. However, you guys are now descending 100 feet, 200 feet, and the ground is coming quick. You are now noticing also there is not snow in the Bone Meadow. You've seen this before. I mean, this is like sulfur-enriched water that eventually connects to the River of Color, but it's coming up quick. You are no more at this point. Okay, you are no more at this point than probably about 1,000 feet off the ground. You are going to land in the Bone Meadow,
Well,
but
that's alright. As long as we're not going to die.
at this point, make an athletics check.
What do I do?
You don't need to do anything.
Hold it
You're
steady.
good for the moment.
23.
23. Yes, you pull
put you in the right role.
steady, and it hurts. But I mean, you managed to pull this up. Morwen and Croddick now like clinging on and managing to right the sails, and slowly. I mean, you're at 800 feet, 700 feet, 600 feet, and at about 300 feet, you manage to level off. You're still falling, but you're falling with style. Heinrich and
Yep.
Gunter, more so you. But you would see now, looming before you, there is this field. You can see sulfuric, very, very shallow, not rivers, not streams even, really almost like a delta that goes out between these bleach bone-looking stacks of large, flat rocks.
I just said shit.
Yeah. And you are going to land amongst them. At this point, make a perception check, both of you.
Yeah, it's assumed that we're holding on to each other. Fuck.
That's a natural 1.
Yeah, no, bad.
Gunter, you're
11.
you're like with Heinrich holding you, you're just kind of like spinning.
Oh, yeah.
And so
I'm
you're
just, like,
now
holding on.
facing backwards. With that perception check, you see Shay.
And I had an 11, so it's just probably what you described.
You can see before you. I mean, not a whole lot, and so you're descending quickly. At this point, I need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Well, here's the good rolls. Another 22.
23. It's my number today.
17.
Okay.
Oh.
3.
Okay.
I'm still holding on to him
Yep.
for the sake of just continuity
Sure,
here.
absolutely. So as you hold on to him, you guys descend 200 feet, 100 feet, and then about 80 feet, all of a sudden, this craft begins to dip a little bit. That tear in the metal, all of a sudden, begins to stretch open. And as you hit the first stack of rocks, which explodes out across, the whole tail is ripped away.
Oh, jeez.
Back flipping off.
No problem, Shay. As it begins, you can see all of a sudden just sky, and in this moment you jump,
Yep.
and you can see the tail into rocks, just shattering rocks out. You guys are already about 100 feet beyond.
We're like skittering in like circles, probably.
Slam into the rocks. Gunter immediately out the window.
Yeah, I know.
He's gone.
Yeah.
The two of you, along with Croddick, managed to, like, in a combination of tumbling, holding onto, and then athletically falling, Avoid damage as you screech to a stop amidst the sulfur.
I was gonna say, like in the moment that he was ripped away,
Yeah.
would I have had time to do anything?
Yeah, if you have a reaction, sure.
Do I have
if
time
it has to be a
do
reaction,
anything
then
while
no.
I'm
If
flying?
it's a reaction.
Oh wait, actually, with Warcaster,
Is it
an
a-
action level spell is a reaction. Okay.
What do you want to
Can
do?
I do this?
Oh wait, no,
As
it's just
I'm
attack of
flying?
opportunity. Is this an attack of opportunity kind of situation? Because that's the only
If
condition
you're
at
rolling
which.
an attack spell, a melee attack
Exactly.
spell, sure.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I
Okay.
don't have anything.
So,
Sorry.
out the window.
This image is so.
roll,
touch, right?
roll a okay. Make a concentration check as if you had just cast that. Because we're gonna see you have to be able to like focus and cast that. That's really what we're rolling for here.
What's the concentration?
So to maintain
Constitution.
concentration, it's your you have to roll over
18.
18. Okay. We'll get back to that. As you come to a rest in this place, and we pull up some different music here. I would say, I mean, your ears are still ringing.
We're not dead.
You are not
Better
dead.
than expected.
Let me get back here.
Oh my god. Could have gone better.
It could have gone a lot worse.
Could have gone a
But
lot
yes,
worse.
it definitely could have gone better.
Yeah.
All right, so where's my music? Here we go.
I'm getting used to this falling feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done it too much.
You've done it a lot.
And like very recently too. Like
So,
I'm bored of it.
Shay, you came to a stop first.
Yep.
And as you complete your backflip, the tail smashing down into that field, your feet touch like a very pebbly sort of earth. You're sort of on the bank of part of a delta. You can see this slightly yellow tinged water that smells very strongly of sulfur. And you can see areas that are bubbling within this. It's definitely being fed from the earth. There are these bleached stacks of stones, some of them going up almost 10, 20 feet high, some of them much lower. And there are elements, they almost look like those stones that you see people stacking up on hills and Instagram photos for some reason.
Oh, it's like for hiking. Hiking is
Exactly, yeah, but on a much larger scale. And you would notice that they are joined. They're not. It seems as if things have eroded them into this way. You would see a huge cloud of debris and this slightly acidic sort of liquid just sprouting out into the air as the rest of the plan, about 120 feet away from you, comes to a stop. Kind of like at an angle where you would imagine the two of them are kind of like crowded out.
You'd see a little star.
What do you want to do?
Making my way toward the crash site.
Okay,
See who's
you
still
begin to
alive.
approach. Within this,
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
within this crash site, you and Krodek, so Heinrich, Mormon, Krodek, you all now, you're still ringing, still feeling the sensation of movement, almost as if your body is catching up to you. You are in this craft. There are elements of rock within.
Sure.
You can see there is like this very damp area where water kind of spurted up as you guys made your initial impact. From where you are, the craft is right side up. It is in two pieces.
All right.
And looking at it, there are elements that, I mean, this is not going to be usable again.
No, I don't think he wanted it back anyways.
The smell of sulfur is beginning to just permeate the inside of this craft. And looking around, you do not see Gunter. In fact,
I know where he
felt
went,
Gunter
yeah.
ejected at a
Yeah.
No
tremendous speed.
Gunter, no Shay.
Yeah. Panic in my eyes. I'm like, are you two okay? You go look for Shay. I'm gonna go look for Gunter because I have the best sense of where, maybe the best sense of where he.
Already, Krodek
Yeah.
is beginning to peel himself out and trying to get.
I'm like, oh, these might be my final moments.
Make a performance check.
Okay.
I mean, they seem fine enough to me, so I'm
That's
already
a
out.
natural one. No,
This is
no,
the
I'm
wrong
better
time
than
for
that.
this.
I'm better than that. It's a 10.
Okay. Krodek pauses and kind of looks down at you, his bird eyes regarding. Give it some time. I think you'll be okay. And he steps over you, his one good wing kind of flapping, and he makes his way out of the craft. Shay, immediately he turns and locks eyes with you, and you see him just kind of wave. He looks back down into the craft.
Yeah.
Shay's coming.
Okay, good. We need to find Gunter. He fell out at the. He fell, and I'm just like up and out
Okay, so you out.
to where
Chronic
my
out.
best guess would be where he like.
You see the two of them emerge. What are you doing?
I don't even know. Knock him out.
Okay. And then afterwards, by like a second or two, you can see very kind of disappointed look on her face. Morwen climb out. The three of you now out. Go ahead and make perception checks, if you will. You can see Chronic looking around. He's kind of making his way a little bit further away from the
I'm
crowd.
quitting those dice for a while.
Okay. That's
probably a good idea.
That is a 7.
7. Okay.
8 passive 11.
29. Okay.
Yeah, I mean we know who's
Most
going to
of
be
you
finding anything
looking
here.
through, your eyes begin to sting. This is not poisonous necessarily, but you would imagine the fumes from this over time may lead to a poisoned-like condition.
Blah.
It stings your eyes and your nostrils, and it is this potent smell of rotting eggs. However, not similar to Azra's smell. This is a very different kind
Right.
of chemically
That's
sort
good.
of thing.
Smell.
I'm gonna get our one that I was using our we had those masks that we made
Yeah.
a while back.
Okay, sure.
I'm just gonna get that out and be like, all right, everyone, get your.
From the Trials Accord, you get your
Yeah.
various stink masks on.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna put mine back on, and I'll.
Necessary.
Yeah, you're fine.
You're fine.
And you actually, so that feeling, that sensation of perhaps you will be poisoned by this, you do not feel that. This is something that to you, while unpleasant, you're able to push away from your body. No problem. But
hope Chronic is too.
as you kind of walk down, you step in, your feet a little bit wet as you get into this, maybe about this deep little rivulet of water. And you can see there are kind of this one stack of rocks. There's like a very, very clear area where they've been impacted by something a little smaller. The rock itself actually broken. Head in that direction.
Yep.
You begin to follow the marks of just various broken things. I need dice real quick. Gunter. Now, you walking over, you can see already he's hit at least 3 of these columns. And by the second one, there's already elements. You can see a little torn piece of purple fabric from his cloak.
Yep.
And you can see just like a little bit of blood. And the third column, as you pass, we've only gone about 20 feet at this point. You can see there's like a pretty decent amount of blood and like a section of bandages attached to it.
Oh, he is naked.
And then about 20 feet beyond, you can see face up in the midst of this stream, blood intermingling with the yellow stained water. Gunter, you see Gunter dead. And then you can mark off an additional, I think it goes about 32 points.
I mean, I'm following. Do I see this too?
Eyes
now?
open. If you're following, yeah, you
Wait,
see.
is he actually dead?
As far as we can
He got
tell.
ejected from a plane.
I mean, my immediate reaction is to like use the healing light on him, just like that welling of like caring for someone who I know brought me back from the dead. I'm immediately.
As you put your hand out to do that, the runes begin to flicker, but then they just go out as if they're not working. That spell does not take effect.
What the fuck? And I'm just gonna start shaking him and smacking him.
He,
Gunter, get up!
Wait, do I see him?
yeah.
You're.
I'm running over and I'm gonna try to like. Is there like dry land?
Yeah, you can haul him over a couple
Okay,
feet to this
okay.
kind of pebbly shore, yeah. So
Is
just,
his eyes open?
yes. Make an intelligence check.
Okay. I've seen dead Gunter before.
I'm doing whatever I can to resuscitate him.
Okay, you begin
Like-
sort of like,
Whatever leads to a
A.
medicine check. Like the equivalent of CPR in this world that I
okay,
may
make a
know.
medicine check. From being from a port town, I
Yeah.
mean, you there are
People
very
who
basic-
drown or
yes,
whatever,
and
like-
there are you
I'd be
would
good
know
at
some
that.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. At the moment, however, looking at Gunter, he's bloodied. You can see like probably broken bones. The bandages have been kind of like ripped away in places, and his cloak is tattered. He looks pretty rough.
10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay. You begin just pumping on Gunter's chest. You actually feel an element of the sternum crack a little bit.
Oh,
but there's
I'm
no-
not trying to do that.
That-
I mean, it
successful
happens in
CPR,
CPR.
that's what happens.
Yeah,
when-
that's
Yeah.
true.
But it doesn't feel as if it's taking effect. You don't feel a heartbeat. You don't feel...
I just kind of be looking to everyone else, being like,
It seems dead.
I don't.
You smack Gunter, dealing 1 point of bludgeoning
No,
damage.
no, I take the feather and I tickle his nose.
Okay, you do so.
I
what do
check
you-
his eyes if they're moisturized.
I mean, they're open. You can see little elements of like yellow where this. It's hard to tell if it's like jaundice, like old person liver spots, or if it's like parts of the water that have been splashed into his eye. But either way, they're not moving.
Okay, first of all, what time of day is it?
At this point, I'm gonna say it. Well, I know exactly how long it is. It's 11:02.
Okay, so I would guess around almost noon.
Yeah.
Is there any cover
It's-
or like place to drag the body to safety while we
Make a perception check.
figure out what the hell to do? I'm
Yeah.
like, Shade, how well do you know these lands? Are we safe here? Can we get his body to safety and try to
Revive him! He did it for you!
15 for perception, but
Looking around quickly, there is a blizzard above. Because of the heat, and you're noticing this water, liquid as it is, does radiate heat. These are some kind of a thermally fed, probably some kind of volcanic activity nearby, you would imagine.
so
It's not ideal to stay here.
But looking around, you can see there's a number of places that have a bit of a larger shore, and they tend to be near these big stacks of rocks. So you could use that for a little bit of cover. You don't see anything like a cave or
because I'm just worried about wyverns.
It's like, are you dead?
I worry about wyverns.
Wait.
And whatever else may have
Okay,
seen
I
us
go
crash
to
here. We should
the
get
ship.
away from this
Okay.
area regardless.
And I try to look
Absolutely.
for something that I can like put him on to like drag him.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
make an investigation check.
That's a good idea.
Well, yeah, even if he is really dead, Warren's gonna carry this body
Oh
around.
yeah, I mean same. As much as
Yay, I did something. Wait, what is it?
Investigation check.
16.
You don't find
it's
anything
higher
like
than
a
a 10.
bodyboard or like a thing that's designed. Thank you. A thing that's designed for like carrying a body, but you can kind of rip away elements of leather that Gunter's added on and different kinds of things like that. And you can fashion sort of like, it's almost like a blanket you could drag him on.
a shitty gurney.
Yeah.
Okay.
A really shitty
You know, you have claws. You
I would
can
help.
very easily tear through this thing.
I would help
Just
carry him.
rip it off and
For
bring it over to the group. You have a leather. It's a piece of leather.
Okay, we burrito him.
Okay, so it takes a
Gunter's
little bit,
meat too.
and you're kind of just
Wait, no,
rolling
no, I
him up.
burrito him in the winter garb.
Okay, so you take some of your winter garb and these large things that you'd actually sheathed his body in before, and wrap him up and have him set to drag along the snow. If
No,
need
no,
be.
not drag carry. We'll carry.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely do that. It looks like you're carrying a body rolled up in a carpet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just so you're aware of the visuals of this.
We are going to great lengths to hide our traces.
Okay.
We're going to the middle of nowhere to bury this body.
Krodik at this point would come over, probably to you, Morwen, and very gently lay a hand on your shoulder. I'm sorry, Morwen, for your friend, but we can't bring him with us.
I'm not leaving him.
Turns, looks at you, Shay.
Let them do as they will.
We're not gonna leave him right here. We'll at least get him somewhere less disturbed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this isn't my first dead Gunter rodeo. He's just gonna wake up.
I don't.
He takes a
And
couple
I don't know
steps
how to
away
say
and
that. I don't know how to
approaches you,
respond.
Shay, and kind of leans in. Does she know how death works?
Unclear.
Very bird-like motion, cranes back up. We can bring him, but not too far. He will slow us down.
Considerably.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm not.
Wait, can you not revive him?
I don't have anything to do that with.
You don't have that spelly stuff? I
No.
got diamonds.
I can't do what he did for me. I don't have
We'll
that
look
capacity.
At Chronic. I'll go first. You take the rear.
Are you
He
actually
reaches
dead?
behind, and the spear just comes loose from the magnetic sheathing in his hand. I will follow you, Sky Sister.
And I'm gonna lead off, hoping that they.
Lauren, follow Shay. And I'm just like standing at one end of it, be like, oh, and I just like, oh, okay. I guess we're lumberjacking this guy now.
So between the two of you, not an issue. You and just kind of, sort of wet, and he bends in the middle because he's not like rigor mortis status yet. But you have this sort of bent. You would imagine if Gunter does wake up, he's not going to be very comfortable or whole. But you guys have this burritoed Gunter now that you're hauling, like moving people, moving a carpet. And you begin off. Where are you heading?
In the direction of the glint.
Okay. Make a survival check.
15.
Okay. You begin to pick your way through these stacks of rocks and try to keep your feet dry for the most part. It is difficult in places. There are areas where different rivulets come together, forming almost like a very shallow little pool. But without too much trouble, you pick your way across. You notice this is a very clean area. You being from the area would know, because of the sulfur, it is not something frequented by a lot of creatures. So you don't notice anything in that regard. But over the next half an hour, you progress fairly clearly.
Consistently through this time, I'm casting message and just repeating "wake up" to Gunter, like over and over and over again.
I would say
almost out of desperation.
The first time that you cast it, you get almost this kind of feedback that would indicate to you that a dead person cannot receive message.
I'm still doing it.
Okay.
Over
So
and
you're just
over
kind of getting this almost like this.
Yeah. Well, I'm
And
like,
you see the
it's
runes
like,
actually begin to coalesce, but they break down
Yeah.
as the spell doesn't take hold.
I'm still just gonna do it.
Okay. yeah,
I
you
can't.
keep
I
doing
can't not try to reach him.
it. As the half an hour mark passes, it's been about a half an hour since this event. You make a perception check. Actually, make it at advantage because Chronic is helping you.
26.
Windows.
Should have seen where we're going.
So
not that it helped.
you can begin to notice that these sort of rocky formations are decreasing, as if you are nearing maybe an edge. You're definitely getting away from the center of the bone meadow. And right about this time, you said what? It was
26.
26? The ground is pretty uneven, and so there are a lot of times where you have to look down and kind of make sure that your footing is sound. And you're beginning to notice now, all of a sudden, these pebbly shores no longer just pebble. It's hard to make out at first because the color is so similar, but there are just little bits, fragments of bleached bone mixed in.
Wonderful.
And I'll say with the 26, you can even kind of make out from whole elements of them. These are like rodent-sized bones, fairly small. What are you guys doing?
Following.
Continuing.
Okay.
Just following. I mean, looking around now that I like. Yeah, I'm like obviously distracted by my friend's death, who brought me back, and I have no power to do so. So it's like that's my only thing that I can think to do, is the only thing that can actually reach inside. At this point.
You guys begin to progress, and as you go now, you're noticing like elements of this leather kind of begin to soak a little bit. There's a decent amount of blood that's still kind of coming out.
Patch him up.
But after another half an hour or so of traveling through, Shay, you're beginning to notice these fragments of bone are getting a little larger. You're looking at things that might be maybe fox size now, maybe a little bit larger, like badgers. You're seeing elements of like teeth that look like maybe rodent teeth. But without looking too closely, you can't really discern what they are. But also after about half an hour, Gunter, you wake up.
Oh my god! No, I don't. I'm just like, I told you guys!
And so all of a sudden, within this rolled up piece of leather, Gunter begins to twitch and flick around. And
I
make
feel like that
noise.
would just
I'm
like
gonna
shock
say,
me, and I'd drop my end.
If and when Gunter really dies, like, boy who cried, well, I'm gonna be like, no, 7 days later.
Just dragging a corpse around.
You have created a long-standing, like, pending trauma for someone who will now just forever have a friend named Gunter, even though
It's
you're
like
dead.
carrying a hand around. Like,
Yep.
Yeah. Added to Frank's skull collection.
Just down to a
my
finger.
So you drop this?
I,
Gunter?
out of shock, just drop.
Okay. Just
Like,
drop it?
No, I don't.
Okay. Make a
I wasn't
a
expecting
strength
that.
saving throw. 18. So as Heinrich just kind of just lets go, you have to almost like yank your entire body forward to keep this wrap basically balanced on your back, and it begins to like thump around, and you can hear Gunter's voice
Very
emanating
Death
from the middle.
All right, then I'll gently.
Okay. Using your legs and not your back, you lower this load to the ground and carefully deposit Gunter on a dry spot on the shore of one of these little outcroppings of water. Gunter, what do you want to
I'll
do? You feel
burrito him.
okay? All of a
Good
sudden,
morning.
Gunter, you're just rolling
I'm
again.
bringing myself out as she like unwraps him. Like oh.
And I run over. I'm just like,
And
Gunter, are you okay?
there's just
Gunter,
blood
Gunter.
all over.
And
him.
now
Gunter,
I
you
do the
feel
healing surge
there's like
again.
an element of your ribs that's broken.
It's the healing surge again immediately, seeing him actually move this
Go ahead
time.
and roll for healing surge. The
It's the
these
the
teal-colored
healing
runes
light,
just
whatever.
begin to emerge around your hands, and as you reach out, it's this very Doctor Strange like circle of arcane energy, and you can see these runes begin to drift off and float around you.
18.
And you feel 18 points. Dang!
Yeah, that's half of them.
You feel all of a sudden that little piece of bone at the edge of your sternum. We're back into place, and that pain decreases a little bit when you breathe in. You're still feeling a little bit of hurt, but for the moment, you are alive.
Hey, we made it!
Gunter, looking around, you are amidst sulfurous water. There is a storm still howling overhead. You smell rotting eggs. You can see stacks of these bleached, bone-colored rocks going up, and actually, as you look down, you can see pebbles and maybe small bits of bone below.
So we're here.
What happened?
He's
You were-
sleeping again.
You were dead.
Oh no, I'm fine.
Well, I can see that now. But
I
what
told
happened?
you.
But what happened?
Well, last thing I remember was you didn't hold me into the.
I tried my hardest.
And I went.
I was
flying
trying
out
my
the
hardest.
window.
Are you kidding me, Gunter? I tried my hardest to hold you in.
No, you didn't try hard enough because I ended up wherever you found me. Bloodied up. Blood all over me.
As Gunter says this, there is this brief, almost like a flashback of this, like, and
Yeah.
Gunter screaming as he
Yeah.
gets ejected out of the thing.
Yeah.
So another trauma. But so now, at the moment, you guys find yourselves within the Bone Meadow. All around, you can see these stacks kind of drifting off, although they have been getting slightly smaller.
I take it you're good to go, Gunter.
I'll walk it off.
Good.
Healing word.
All right. Go ahead and roll for your
just-
healing word.
Our healers are healing themselves.
You can keep those winter clothes.
Ooh.
Nice. That's 9.
Okay, yeah. You feel a lot better as you begin to straighten out and do your
much
Gunter
full
stretches. Yeah, you feel pretty good. As you slip in real life. But Krodok turns and looks to you. I'm relieved about your friend, but we should be going.
Absolutely.
What of this place do you two know? Are we in immediate danger? I see the ground is turning to bones.
Krodok kind of looks down.
Like pick them up and kind of like.
Sorry about that.
We are in considerably less danger than you all are. However, we should keep moving.
Well,
What's so dangerous about this place?
Well, spending a lot of time here can have unintended consequences for those without the ability
right,
to purify.
Gunter, look, and I point at the mask thing that I'm wearing. Do you remember the Temple Accord?
Oh,
put your thing on.
what about- Take it out and put it on. I already have resistance to poison.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just
Gunter-
making him do it anyways for peace of mind.
Also, does Gunter know that he's resistant to poison?
Isn't it like a racial thing? Aren't all dwarves?
Yeah.
They're just like they know.
But
that?
does Gunter know
Does
it?
Gunter know?
I don't know. Would that be like common knowledge for dwarves that are just like, oh yeah, we're all just like chill with poison?
Maybe.
Depends on your upbringing.
I'm just gonna
If you're
say
the
with
only
how
dwarf
old
in
you
town,
are
I'd
and
say
your
no.
past, I have to assume a few people have tried to poison you and it
Yeah.
truly, I really mean it. Like,
Kool-Aid
I mean that as an
yeah,
insult, as hard as I can.
Someone definitely slipped something in one of your drinks and was like,
yeah.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once
They're
or
just
twice.
like counting their freckles, like waiting for.
Yep.
Why am I looking at
Just
my
a
wrist?
pretty hardy guy.
yeah.
But with all that
You
considered,
can say that again.
this is a place that, as you progress, is going to make you somewhat ill. And I would say everybody at this point, because it has been an hour, make a Constitution saving throw, with the exception of you. Actually, just the two of you.
But the.
You can make it at advantage.
Yeah.
I will say that. That's fine. That's a good point.
Yeah. All right. Ooh.
All right, mine was 16.
Okay.
Con save.
Yep.
20.
Okay. So even with this smell beginning to sting your nose and kind of creep into your eyes almost, you don't feel as if you are poisoned. The natural constitution of the two of you, especially the much more constituent Morrowind. I don't really know how to say that.
Stitch.
Oh, look at that.
Well, that's
Little
why you
Morrowind.
said it.
Why it
But-
happened this week. It's fine.
Yeah, it was all planned just for this moment.
Yes.
Because I knew this was how this was going to
Exactly.
turn out.
You couldn't have waited any longer to say constituent.
Yes, I've been waiting all week. However, I would say you guys feel fine. The two of you and Krodik, don't even notice. The smell very quickly becomes part of the passive surroundings, and you're fine. Gunter, you feel like elements of this kind of creeping into your mouth, and it tastes bad, but you know you've had worse things to eat.
farts.
You've eaten rotten food. I mean, you're fine.
Tastes like eggs.
Shall we be going?
Yes.
Please. It stinks here.
Continuing to
Okay.
move.
All of you, after another 10 minutes or so, begin to notice the ground becoming even more uneven. There are areas where your feet begin to slip, and as you all look down, you're seeing now there are elements, almost half human-sized skulls. But not a lot of them. You're noticing a lot more of the small animal bones, but here and there are larger creatures. After another 5 or so minutes goes by, you pass a very large, perhaps at first you think of it as almost a boulder protruding from some water. Then you notice it's the head of a femur that must be about 7 feet long. Elements of it dipping down and beneath this sort of stony soil, but then the rest of it protruding out through.
What made that?
Let's just keep moving.
I'm going to say everybody make a perception check.
There are a lot of things in the north that are not kind.
I mean, the North itself hasn't been kind in the first place, so 17.
Okay.
28.
21.
Okay.
7.
Okay. I'm going to say, Morwen, despite the fact that you're not poisoned, this is really stinging your eyes. And so as they water, it's really hard to make out any details. Gunter, you're noticing, and you notice this, and you can react to it however you would like. There are bits of these strange-looking bones, kind of hollow, almost like birds, but they're larger. And I would say they're not hollow as natural avian-type wings are, but your eyes are kind of drawn over to Krodik for a second. I would say you can also see there are not just bones. There are parts of these bones that do have little like dots of maybe dried up, almost mummified flesh. And you gather that the area here does serve to preserve bodies in a certain way. And there is a moment now where all of a sudden you start to think, why is there not more of this flesh? I would say Shay. You can see that there are these elements of... You said 28? It's very hard to make out, but some of these bones do have elements of maybe like claw marks. Not humanoid, but also roughly that size. Maybe a medium-sized creature that caused them. And you're also noticing that there are a weird selection of bones. Heart, I mean, you can do it that way you will. Kind of hard to tell what that's from.
Sure.
What do you guys want to do?
Are we in a nest?
And as far as you know, there are not living creatures that should be here.
Keep going, but maybe up the pace just a fraction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's get out of here.
Yep.
Okay.
This whole time, too, I've kind of been passing gas, but it's funny because no one can talk.
Okay. Perfect. You guys begin to progress a little bit quicker, hurrying your pace. You can see now Krodik very quickly kind of turning his head, keeping an eye on everything around. Another 10 minutes go by, and all of a sudden, in front of you, through bits of mist that rise up from the ground, little elements of snow before they melt. They actually never hit the ground. You can see they, from the heat, do melt before they impact. But you can see above and in front of you, near one of these piles of rock, a very different kind of body, full. But you can see this, the flesh itself is black and dry, almost mummified by its surroundings. What do you want to do?
It's directly ahead of us.
Probably about 60 feet ahead of you. Yeah.
Can we skirt around it, perhaps?
Make a perception check. You certainly can, but
29.
29. Okay. You begin to really scan and see if there's a way you can circumvent this body. And then you notice a little bit further off to your left, a second one. And further around it, you don't necessarily make out a third one, but you see this blackened hand kind of outstretched from behind a pillar. And all of a sudden, very weirdly, you could almost swear that you hear singing. Very... and then it's gone in the wind, but you could almost swear you hear it.
All right, on we go. Here we go on the way to
Pull up
Alberon.
short
What?
and shush Gunter.
Okay.
Trying to lighten the mood.
There are at least 3 things here.
Well, there's me.
No.
There's you.
No.
Gunter, I don't think we should be drawing as much attention to ourselves.
There's nothing here.
We don't... How many times has that been wrong? Let's go.
I will attempt to navigate us through, but we're gonna have to be quiet.
Everyone looks at Gunter.
Yeah. Roddick's eye, he doesn't turn his head, but
It's
his eyes shift around.
message. Be like, if you want to talk to me, just talk to me this way. Or if you need to talk at all to not, like, let it out. Just yell into my head. It's fine.
What?
Not with your mouth.
Well, how am I supposed to
Just
talk
think
about my
it.
mouth?
Just think it back.
Shay, as
What?
this is transpiring.
Just think it
from
back.
you.
Put my hand over his mouth, like, shut.
So as his hand goes over Gunter, you suddenly, the breath stopping in your lungs, you can now look over Shay's hand and you can see,
Shay's hand.
It's
okay,
fine.
as
I
your
don't
tongue
fucking
comes
care.
out and caresses softly
gross.
the well-calloused hands of Shay, you see,
They're actually very soft in the middle.
you see beyond the hand, this blackened corpse all of a sudden kind of shudder.
Ah! That thing moved.
And as you screech out, suddenly you can see the skull, which is not facing you, kind of on the ground, just very in one motion, and just begin to turn. And as it moves its arms, I need everybody to roll initiative.
Yeah.
Channel divinity, turn undead.
Go ahead and roll your percentile dice.
It's just, it makes a save.
Oh, really?
And if it
Oh,
fails,
you're doing channel divinity.
Channel
I thought you were
divinity,
doing
yeah.
a different
No,
thing.
no, no.
Okay, I was gonna say that's a weird use of that.
No, it's just if there's
What's the save?
CR, it's a wisdom save. I
Yeah.
think? Yep, wisdom saving throw,
Okay.
and it's 17.
17. So they make that. They succeed. They rolled a natural 19. Actually.
Individuals or?
Oh, is it for? Do I have to roll for each individual? Okay.
Yep.
So let me set this
'Cause-
up a perspective
'cause
for
the-
you, so you can see
you-
how everybody is.
Because there's CR, it depends on the CR too. What happens? If their CR is
Okay.
1 or below, they just die automatically if they fail. And if it's
I've had this map for a month and a half.
Yay.
one or more, then they are basically frightened.
Allie, you want to help?
Where are mana potions?
They're right behind you. Right behind the chair.
So at the moment,
I'm gonna multi-class into Ranger so I can learn silence and actually shut you up.
we could put Shay, I'll say right about here.
Okay.
The two of you can be back over there somewhere. We have more. We need a Crotic.
To be fair, she just came back and shut him up, so.
My Crotic has not come in the mail yet, so Crotic is going to be a Spectre.
Okay, that's fine.
That's Crotic there. And
Floaty boy.
this is a whole scene I get to set here. Okay, so
Oh boy.
Scully boy. Scully boy. yellow tapeworms?
Chains.
Chains.
Let's see, from your perspective now, so you can see.
Oh boy.
This is the one thing that's very imperfect about it.
Oh, your case?
Yeah. There's the stacks and stacks of things I need to get through to get there.
Mm. And because of our nature, it is impossible to discern what we will do. Ugh. Boo.
Age.
So you probably can't really see much in there. And yeah, okay, so let me change this down a little bit. All right. So, initiative scores. Anybody with a natural 20?
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
Okay, 25 to 20?
21.
No one?
Dirty 20.
30, 20. All right. 21, 20, 20 to 15? 15 to 10?
13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hunter, what'd you get?
7.
You're not going last?
Hey, not last.
The immobile cage goes last.
No, that goes before Gunter.
You're slower than a cage.
Okay. So, Morwen, you are up. Shay, you are on deck.
Okay. I go stabby stab the first thing that I see closest to me.
So you're
You're her.
currently far back. The ghost is Krodok,
Oh.
who actually would be behind, or actually
He'd be in
just
the
a
back.
little.
Like the way that I was imagining the scene is that the two of you were talking, Gunter started making noise, I'm right behind him, and you just
That
turned around
makes
and
sense,
ran
yeah, that
to
makes
shut him
sense.
up, basically.
Fair enough.
And Morrowind would be in...
And Krodok would be in the back, though, wouldn't he?
No,
Because he was walking with you
he's
two
with
up
you.
front, yeah.
Morwen, what are you doing?
Alright, I use my... I'll dash to the first... No, yeah, I will. To this guy.
Okay.
And I do a stab.
Dash is an action.
Oh, I'll do...
Feline agility?
She can bonus action.
Oh,
action
bonus
dash.
action dash. Yeah, fucking...
stab.
15, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Yeah, no problem.
Alright.
So you, all of a sudden, from the very back of this group, just kind of steps just disappear, and you dart around going behind this pillar of stacked, uneven bone-like rocks, and you close. And as you do, you make out a couple things about this creature. It is this dried out, almost kind of like tan black, mummified skin that's pressed up, stretching away from the lips so you can see the teeth. It doesn't have eyes. You also notice this creature, the clothes themselves seem to be almost like faded from what they originally were. These creatures probably been here for a little bit. I will say, so you want to stab? Go ahead and make your attack.
Oh, that's nice. 22.
22 hits. Go ahead and roll damage on that. That's great.
6.
6 points of damage?
Yeah.
Okay. You lunge forward, and as you do, you aim for a part of the cloth that kind of hangs over the chest.
I don't think,
You
because...
get sneak attack because you're.
No, but I have to have someone...
No,
I-
you're a
Why do I-
swashbuckler.
You're a
Never
swashbuckler.
fucking-
You literally just get it all the time.
Just assume you have it.
truly... Okay, fine. I'll just assume I have it until I don't. Okay.
We'll go over your rules during
You have
break
it because
again.
I just
you have
don't get
no,
why.
you have no ally, and it has no allies within 5
Right.
feet. So you.
I just thought that I had to have an ally nearby.
That's a flanking thing. That if you can gain coverage from that.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. 6.
Plus-
And then, okay. 9, 12,
Doss is talking about your snowball.
16, 17, 20, 21.
Okay, 27 points total damage. You spring out from behind this pillar, thrusting forward with your rapier, and it just pierces straight through. You feel bone kind of crumble away. It's almost as if the integrity of these creatures is compromised. But you pull it out, it's still standing, still just kind of looking at you, its mouth slightly open. And you can
That's
hear
it?
this.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and make your attack.
Why did die. 6.
Okay.
No, wait, no, it's not. It's 8.
Way better. As it goes, you can see the mouth unhinges a little bit, and it just makes this sound. And as you swing forward, that unnerving sound coming out, you swing wide and miss. Anything else?
Yeah, I'll use my feline agility to keep moving.
Okay, you have about 25 feet left. Yep. Perfect. Okay, so as you miss, even taking that momentum in, you're already moving and dart back behind in a very Shay-like tactic. Speaking of which, Shay, what do you want to do? Heinrich, you're up next. Okay.
Not the one that Morwen hit, but the other one that's in front.
Okay.
I'm gonna run up and hit it.
Yeah, no problem. I could say, I mean, you don't actually go around that. You don't need to go around that. You can very, very easily, because it is like these very...
It's like steps.
Steps.
Kinda? Okay.
You can just charge up and leap off to make your attack.
22.
22 hits. Roll for damage.
Oops.
9.
Okay, so you jump off, just flying punch, and just deck it in the face. You actually hear the bone crack a little bit, and it's beginning to make this... and just kind of cracks, it cuts the airway off.
Shut
it can't make any sounds.
Second hit, 22.
Okay, you land and then kick out. Go ahead and roll damage on that.
10.
10. You kick it, and as it hits right in the hip, you feel like the flesh itself, almost like one single piece of leather, scrapes off and springs away, almost like a piece of bark coming off of a tree. You can see just this blackened bone underneath.
Aiming for that. Dirty 20.
Yeah, make damage for that. That's great.
9.
Okay. As the flesh comes away, as the flesh comes away, like from that last kick, you spring to your feet, bringing your elbow around with it, and you shatter actually 3 of the ribs inwards. At this point, you can hear this kind of as it tries to pull air in, but you've broken its neck. It's actually permanently like looking to the left, almost like a little bit over its shoulder.
And backtracking, almost pushing Gunter forward if possible, like just with my physical presence.
Probably can't do that, but you can get very close to Gunter.
Right. That's all right.
45 there.
If I'm remembering correctly, she has 70 feet base.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, you can get there and back. No problem. That's 10, 30, 35, 40. You can get back to right in front of Gunter.
What?
25.
And so you just right back to Gunter, and you kind of get your hand out, sort of as if you're about to turn him towards this combat. Speaking of which, Gunter, you're on deck. Heinrich, what do you want to do?
I'm just gonna take a position. 1, 2. Can I see over this?
Yeah, it's about 5 feet tall, so
Okay.
you being 6 feet tall, no problem. Your head just kind of pokes out.
I just get in all like full Western mode, and I just like kind of slide over there, and then Eldritch Blast, and then I duck for cover afterwards. But
And that's on the one that Morwen hit.
Morwen hit
Okay,
first,
go ahead.
because I assume this is tall enough that I can't see over it.
Yeah, that one is about 13 feet tall.
Okay.
There are
Alright, so-
areas where you can kind of see through. I mean, it would be difficult to snake an Eldritch Blast through it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna do both bolts on him. First one's a crit,
Very nice.
which I'll just roll damage for that one, right?
Sure.
I'm also pushing it back 10 feet with this move if
Okay.
it survives. So 12 plus charisma, so that's 17
Okay.
on the first bolt.
Sure, that's great.
And then... Ooh, and then a 1.
Well,
The first bolt,
Yeah.
as you hold your hand out, these glyphs beginning to, at your fingertips and spreading out until there's a circle in front, you unleash this Eldritch Blast, and as it tears through the sky, the other one's just kind of going a little wide.
Sure.
The first one hits right in the chest and seems to almost, you see the chest cave in before the whole body is blasted back 10 feet.
Okay.
But you perfectly killed it.
Oh,
It's
perfectly. So 10 feet plus momentum of...
kind of just rolls over.
Wait.
here.
I want to hit... Can its head hit this thing?
Sure.
And crack and disintegrate?
With the burst of Eldritch Blast energy, you can see it's rocketed, spinning very much like end over end, and its head slams into the rocks.
Cool.
Kind of caving in a little bit.
Nice.
But yeah, he's dead.
And then I duck for cover.
Okay, and then,
It's like...
yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, so you duck down. You could just, like, the very tips of one of the antlers kind of over, but no problem. You're in cover.
Yeah.
Gunter, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna move forward. So 10, 20, 25. Almost got up to Croddic.
So proud.
Yeah.
So proud.
And then, can I ready to cast Channel Divinity when they come in range of it?
What part of Channel Divinity are you preparing?
Destroy Undead.
Yeah, sure. You can ready that as an action. You can ready that, yeah.
Okay. Then I will, as an action, ready Destroy Undead for when they come within 30 feet.
Okay, sure. Great.
Just make sure to not hit the Croddic ghost.
Speaking of whom,
Or the rest of us that
Where's
are
he
within
going?
30 feet.
I'll move him for
so
him.
Croddic, based on what he's seen, Croddic is actually going to go to the other side of Gunter. And seeing you, just 5 feet forward towards me, and turning to the side, seeing you, is going to use his action to say, "Watch out," and point in this direction. And I'll say, as part of that, you can see a couple more things. Because he rolled real well.
Nice.
Talon says Gunter with his little toddler legs.
I see.
Oh, it's baby legs.
He's trying so
287-year-old legs.
Respect the legs.
Yeah.
Elder legs.
Elder legs. Ew.
The elder legs. Oh my god.
He's trying so hard.
What kind of priest? No.
25 feet is a lot in 6 seconds for a 287-year-old.
No, it sure
Okay.
is.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Right at the edge of your vision.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Oh, good thing I didn't use my Channel Divinity just yet.
This guy always has leg problems.
Leg problems, you say?
He skips leg day. You can see 3 more of these creatures beginning to lumber out, and further than that, amidst the elements of steam and snow, you can see a slightly larger shape beginning to loom out as well. But you can't quite make it out yet.
Okay.
Not huge, but it seems more full in its nature. That is Crodic's turn. He's readying an action. Well, he can't ready a bonus action. That was dumb. All right, he's there by Gunter, protecting him. Gunter, you can feel almost his back turn, one of the wings not managing to open, but the other one out, and he's sort of defending you from the side. He saw you die.
Yeah.
He thinks that you're
That's a fair response
He
to
thinks
this.
that he thinks that you're really, really vulnerable right now.
He doesn't know shit.
It is their turn, and more when you're on deck. All right, these guys have a smooth movement. That's going to trigger your thing. I'll move them all first.
Because there will be more in range. Also in range. Oh wait, no, not in range.
Close, but not.
In range.
You can also get there.
Also in range. Also in range.
I will also say at this point. So, Heinrich, you see in front of you this shape. It drifts out first, its hands at its side, this almost blondish looking hair, although the hair is very thick. These strands, almost like cords.
Dreads.
They go down, kind of, they have like a rubbery consistency to them.
Dreaded,
Not
but not.
hair.
Like pool noodles.
Okay.
You also see the face, humanoid in ways, but the skin itself, this kind of almost, very much like she looks right there, this sort of stretched and pallid skin. You don't see any teeth in the mouth. And
she's not.
yeah. So you were holding your action. Go ahead and cast. And you're casting
Surprise!
Turn Undead?
Turn/destroy undead, depending on what their CR is.
Now, what does that do? Because I'm going to tell you right now, these are not undead creatures.
Oh. Then it's not going to do anything.
So, as you cast this Turn Undead, you don't hear thunder. You don't feel
Get out of here!
anything.
We need to get out of here.
I will say, as part of that spell, you gather that they are aberrations. So, on their turn, they're going to attack. That is going to be one on... No, he ran, so he can't. None of those guys can. One, I believe, can hit you, Gunter. Give me 1 second here.
Got that reach.
He does not have that reach. Never mind. So those guys all use their movement to get where they're going to go, which actually means that he can get closer to. 10, 15, 20, 30, 35. However, this creature that you saw, you can see it turns, and these unearthly eyes. There is no pupil. There is no iris. It is just the single color that takes over the entirety of the space. And these eyes are large. They sit within these sallowed cheeks that give the illusion of an almost extended jawbone. And from that range, you cannot hear anything that it does. However, it is going to... It's not within 30 feet and she can't see it. Man! She is going to reach out with her hand, and all of a sudden, there's a streak of green energy. And Heinrich, you watch as it goes wide over your head. You gather as it kind of goes, there is some acidic component to it.
Okay.
But it out and into the snow.
Okay.
That is her turn.
Noted.
That brings us to Morwen. What do you want to do? Shay, you're next.
I'm attacking the guy closest to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move around that way.
20.
And it's worth noting, Morwen, as you come around, all of a sudden there are more of these things. You can see there are like 3 or 4 more of them. I'm going to say 2... no, go ahead.
Okay. And now I don't have it because he has an ally within 5 feet.
No, you do have it.
What the hell?
No,
I don't because
you would not.
the enemy has
The enemy has somebody
an ally,
as an
not
ally
me.
within 5 feet, and then also, if you didn't have...
If someone was also within 5 feet of the enemy.
if you had Gunter within 5... If he was
Like,
5
he
feet
was
to his
one.
left, you would also have it, but you do not have it.
But I don't think
This is
because
the
of
one
This
specific
is
instance.
like one of 2 instances I can think of where you would not have it. No.
Wait, hold on.
If you
5,
had
10,
used...
15, 20, 25. I'm getting in between next to Gunter then and next to the guy, so I do have
Okay,
it.
so like over there instead.
So give me just 1 extra square.
So
than I do now.
sliding through like that will provoke an attack of opportunity.
No,
She could go.
because,
She could
unless-
go this way too.
because
Does she have the movement for that?
you don't.
Yeah.
I have
you
30
don't
feet.
take
5, 10,
attacks
15,
of
20, 25,
opportunity
30.
as
Just to get
right on there. Yeah.
because you.
Well, that's only if I make an
The attack first.
I don't necessarily have to hit it either, but then once I move out of the way, it
So
doesn't.
no problem. You run out behind and avoiding the one that's hurt. You dart towards a different one that is in front of Gunter, kind of reaching for him. Go ahead and make your attack if you wish.
Now, yes, I will. Okay,
Get that snuck.
it's a 1.
Okay.
You stabbed me.
That was so.
So as you
worth
run,
it.
you slide into these pebbles,
Oh, you have
spraying
advantage.
them to the side.
Oh, I
It's
do.
advantage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a sneak attack.
Dude,
Oh,
Allie.
I thought you somehow rolled it.
Whatever. I don't understand.
Just roll.
I don't
I've been
understand.
playing for over a year.
I know. All right. So
It keeps getting more
It's
complicated.
like our 53rd.
it does. The rules keep changing. Okay. So
Pretty consistent.
For you.
since
No,
5e.
For you.
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
A 15 does hit. So go ahead and roll damage. This is a sneak attack.
Okay. So start with. Oops, a 4. That was a 4.
Plus.
Let's see. 7. 13.
Ooh.
19. 23. 29. Plus 5. 34.
Okay. And this is the one that you had damaged?
This is the one that I had shot before.
Oh, no,
This
never
other
mind.
one.
The
had-
other- the one that you shot- yeah.
that's dead. So.
Fair enough.
This is
Okay.
the one that Shay punched.
Yep. The one.
Like
next
this
to
guy's
her.
the one that Shay punched.
the one
This
next
is-
No, that's the one that shape punch. You're hitting a brand new one. So how much was that?
Oh, okay.
34.
34. Okay. So as you streak out around with this thing, you can see it's reaching for Gunter, and it turns and begins to make this. And as it begins to open its mouth, you go straight through and pierce out through the back. You can see the skull, very dry, kind of cracks and crumbles out through the back. And as you pull it through, the sound is just a little bit airier and kind of this. And it's still alive. What do you want to do?
It butts it.
Okay, go ahead and you bring the short sword around.
13.
13. So as the short sword comes around, you hit kind of the side of its shoulder and it lodges in, but doesn't seem to really penetrate in any way.
Not have advantage.
Very close, but does not hit.
Not on the second one.
Okay.
No. All right, then I will dash. Use dash for movement to go 1, 2, 3, 4, have right behind Shay.
Those are 2 attacks of opportunity.
Not.
No,
She-
because I.
Oh,
did a
because you hit. Duh.
I know. I
I
have
know.
a lot of rules.
Yes,
That's
you
why
do.
I'm
That's
confused.
That part is fine.
Swashbucklers.
Yeah.
So
A
you,
lot of rules.
after
all
that
right.
second one, as you miss, your fur kind of puffs up a little bit, and you dart back around and just slot right behind Shay. That is your turn. That brings us to Shay, and then Heinrich, you're next.
Hold my hand up as you go by. I'm gonna go hit the one that I hit
Oh,
before.
I tag you out, or I tag myself out, and you're in.
So you run by, and as you see Shay getting ready to move, you just high five her, and Shay, you just kind of dart forward.
Right there, or
Yep.
okay.
Make
Hitting
your
the one I hit
attacks.
before. 'Cause why not?
Yeah,
22.
that hits.
6.
Okay.
This one?
Yeah.
So you rush forwards, and this time just nail it straight in the chest. Its head's still not really turned the right way, and so it can't really make eye contact with you. Go ahead and make your second attack.
It's not dead.
It's gonna be.
That's probably
right?
not a
27.
27. Yeah, that just barely hits.
You know, 5.
5. Okay.
Oh, maybe not.
So this time, going through just another palm throw, same area, you feel bones underneath, still not dead.
One of those softened copper things.
21.
21, that hits as well.
6.
So with this one now, finally, still standing, you can see there are elements that are actually broken and caved in. And with one final blow, you take your elbow and snap the head at like a 90-degree angle. Bits of the flesh kind of flake away, almost like beef jerky looking, but black and dry.
Took fucking long enough.
That one's dead.
Okay.
There's like
That's
No,
that's
no,
on
the
those.
one.
this one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Nope,
if you
the other
put
one.
that guy back
Yeah.
up.
And then I'm going to.
He's not doing too well either.
Back up
You want
just in
tag
front of
me in?
Morwen. Just in front of Morwen.
Okay, so it's this
And then
right back
I'm
into
just gonna do like a
place.
nice backflip.
There you go.
Oh yeah, sure. You can
Yep,
backflip.
yep,
Why not?
Yep, perfect.
Monk stuff. That is your turn. Heinrich, what do you want to do? Gunter, you're next.
I hate this thing in the back. Can I see it easily?
Yeah.
Okay. The range on this is enough. Casting synaptic static on it.
Great. That's a save.
No, it's. Oh, it is. Yeah, intelligence saving throw.
Intelligence, huh?
Actually, hold on.
Bet they dumb.
Undo hex first. That's just an automatic, and it's a bonus action. I'm going to do that first, and I'm going to make the intelligence save the one that has disadvantage on.
Okay.
And I
allow
deal an extra 1d6 necrotic to it. So that's hexed. And now it
A
needs
nice
to make a
bracelet.
at disadvantage synaptic static intelligence save.
What's its intelligence? Ooh, okay. Come on, Drew. A disadvantage?
Yeah.
That's going to be a 6.
Okay. Fail. So 8d6 psychic and 1d6 necrotic for the thing. So here we go. 4, 7, 13, 14, 20, 26.
Nice.
What, you think you're me?
26, 32.
He's trying real hard.
Final one is 33 psychic, and then 2 necrotic, so total 35 unless resistances to anything.
Okay, so
I've still gotten.
And its thoughts are muddled. It rolls a d6 to subtract everything from attacks and ability checks, and Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration.
first, you look at it and you can feel this black eye kind of pulse. And as it does so, you see from the sky almost these darker sort of shapes coalesce around it, this hex beginning to circle and swarm. And as it looks down, seemingly kind of confused, you cast this incredibly powerful sort of energy. You can see
It's centered on
at
its
first,
face.
it's almost like you see like the air shimmer. It's runes, but they're clear. And all of a sudden there is this this pulse that goes out, and you can see the water underneath the psychic energy ripple outwards and away. It strikes hard. You can see this creature, all of a sudden, its hands with these long, kind of talony fingernails, hi Talon, go up and kind of begin to scrape at the flesh. It doesn't scream. Instead, at this distance, you still can't hear the sound that it's making, I don't think, but that hurts. It
Yeah.
hurts quite a bit.
Cool.
Anything else?
I mean, I'll just stay put because I don't want to provoke or anything, and I guess I'm kind of keeping them from flanking us at this point.
Sure. Gunter,
Hold
what
steady
do you
with
wanna
the
do?
shield.
I'm gonna be like, be gone! Right here, flame strike on these guys.
Great.
Nice.
Excellent.
Just
use
like
of
in
flame
my
strike.
face, like
So it's a
You're fine,
10-foot
you can take
radius,
it.
and I'm gonna focus
I'm
it
resistant to
like
both types of
here
damage
so
that
that
it
it
does.
catches all three of these guys.
Okay,
but
sure.
like
Doesn't hit Heinrich.
basically,
Chronic.
it's gonna like singe Chronic a little bit.
Sure, yeah. It's on the side of
light
his
a
good
feather
wing,
or two.
unfortunately. So that's a dexterity saving throw?
Yes.
All right. What is the DC on that?
17.
Ooh,
It's
okay.
8. Wait, 8. Yeah, 17.
Okay, first one, nearest me, it's a 14, so that's a fail.
This guy.
Second one
Oh,
is a 3. That is a fail. And the third one, that is going to be a natural 2, so a 1. So, yeah, they all fail.
A good chunk of damage. Can I borrow some D6s?
Yeah.
How many you need?
Do you need more?
Yeah. That should do it.
Dang.
yeah.
All right.
Holy shit.
Alright.
Not using Joe's.
I mean, fair.
That's.
All moderate.
Uh,
Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Say. That's 10 radiant damage and. Yeah, 12 fire damage.
Okay.
So
Total of 22.
22. Yeah. I think
All right.
that's-
So there is this massive, all of a sudden, I would say, Heinrich, you and Chronic turn at the same time because you can see the water just boil. And all of a sudden it just evaporates, sublimates into a gas as this massive pillar of fire erupts out. Your elements of hair like going up, and your cloak swirling around you. You see the other side, Chronic's wing like draw back. Oh, thank you. I think I had a black dice there too also.
Oh,
Yeah, I
gave
think
it
you're
to
to Allie.
Allie.
You have 2d6s, one of them says.
There is a...
I don't know which one is yours. They're slightly different.
The rounded edges is his.
Okay.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, they are hurt. You can see elements of this blackened flesh, like actually just charred away. You can see bone underneath. They're not dead.
There's also a 40-foot pillar of flame now, like
Just
chilling.
Just
sky?
Chilling in this.
how long does it last?
Not sure. How long does a
I thought it
pillar of
was
flame
instant,
last?
but what is the duration?
Oh, it's instantaneous.
Yeah,
Okay,
that one
so there's
doesn't-
no
Wall of
lasting
fire
pillar.
is the other.
Yeah.
But there
Which
is
I
just
got.
like burned elements of rock, and even as the water begins to kind of refill the area, there is this as it kind of sizzles. Was that your turn?
That'll do it.
Okay, it is their turn.
Ooh, they mad at you.
5, 10, 15. There. Yeah. All right. So they all begin to lumber forward. They're not terribly fast. She slows her, or it slows its pace as it is moving forward. I have a lot of trouble if I just assign something in my head. It's really hard
Sure.
to change it. But they're going to attack. There's going to be 1, 2. We're going to call it 3 attacks on Chronic, and then 1 on Heinrich. So Heinrich, we'll do yours first.
Sure.
That is going to be a... what can it do? Okay. It is going to attempt to bite you. That is
Got my
going
shield
to...
up.
That is going to be 10 to hit.
Nope. Bounces right off the
And
shield.
so
Just
it clang, as it like just snap shut, and you hear the bone scrape on
Ew.
the metal, and it's a very unfortunate sound. It is also going to lash out with its claws. That is going to be much better. That is going to be a 20 to hit.
yeah, just.
All right. You are going to take 10 points of slashing damage as these
Ouchers.
claws just rake across your side.
Ouchers.
Yeah, they hurt. That is that one. Now there's going to be 3 attacks against Chronic, and I can roll them all at once. I believe I have enough dice for that. I don't. There's going to be a 15. Okay. One of them like seems to stumble away the heat from the pillar of fire like too much. The other two do land attacks. That is going to be. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
So you can see they lunge. One bites into the wing of Croddock, the other one slashes out. And as he's trying to avoid this fire all to one side of him, he has nowhere to go, and they're like tearing into him. He cries out in pain. That is going to be all of them. That is going to bring us to her. She still can't see that. She's just going to be a her now.
Sure.
So. Wow, I can't do any of its cool things. It's going to point again at you and cast, or not cast, it's going to produce this streak of acid.
Okay. Minus a d6.
Yep, well, so -1.
Nice.
Okay. No,
Does it come around again? Is it like aces kind of?
-2.
Okay. So that's a. Yeah.
So you can see it reaches out and this kind of, it twitches and there's like a little spurt. And
Sure.
nothing
I'm
really
sure it's
comes
like
out.
kind of like its head's like kind of twitching in a weird way too, as it can't focus on anything.
Its head turns and it regards you, and for the first time you can hear the sound that it is making.
Ew.
And you can see it's looking at you and its lips are kind of going up and down, but all it's making is this kind of
Ew.
sound. And it is going to, that's all it's going to do.
Okay.
Morrowind, what do you want to do? Shay, you're on deck.
Oh, at the end of its turn, it can make the intelligence save to end this
Oh.
effect, but at disadvantage because hex.
Sucks to suck.
It's going to be a 7. So
Nope.
no, still muddled.
Static
All
did.
right, I'm gonna high five Shay to
Okay.
go help my boy
Okay.
over there.
So you dart forward. You want to get next to Gunter? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, thanks.
Morrowind up next to Gunter. Other side. There you go.
Goodbye.
Go ahead, roll your
Bless you.
attack.
Thank you.
Gesundheit.
Sorry, I should have cut my mic.
Damn, that's an 11.
The
An
silent
11.
sneeze.
As you go forward, you kind of slide. There's this big pillar of fire that erupts as you arrive.
Wait,
And
I
so
have
you kind of-
advantage. No,
ahead.
don't I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you do. You certainly do
Always
here.
do.
Worth it.
Yay.
Worth it.
21.
Yeah, 21 hits.
Did they turn you into one of them?
This one's hurt too.
All right.
Yeah, this one's probably gonna die.
3, 8, 10, 12, 17, 22 plus 5, 27.
So as you rush forwards, this thing like barely hanging on. You can see like elements of rib that are exposed. You very smartly actually don't go for the head, don't go for the exposed elements, but you just take the rapier and just drive it straight down through the neck. You can feel bone break as it goes all the way across its body and punctures out the side. This thing is dead. You're now standing next to Gunter behind Croddock, and you can see Croddock makes eye contact with you as he turns away from the flame.
I wink.
Okay. Make a charisma check.
Gladly. 15.
Okay. You wink and he notices. That is your turn.
Yeah, I'm not gonna move. I'll stay there.
Okay. And actually, I forgot to take Croddock's turn, so he's going to go now. Okay. So, with the spear, he's going to lunge out. He's going to attack both of them at once. He's going to roll a 1 and a 2.
Oh, boy.
So as he swings it out, still sort of like the elements of the flame still existing, one of them just getting like ruptured behind him. He swings out and his grip falters, the spear just flying away.
I can
Off
mark it.
in that direction, off the map, but
Okay.
probably,
Oh,
you
off
could,
the
you could
map.
put it about 10 feet beyond where you are. Yeah. So he's going to just do a regular strike, and that is so much better. That's a 17. That is going to be 8 points of damage to it, which is which is great. So Mormon just went, Shay, what do you want to do, Heinrich? You're next.
Gonna shout up, running up and kind of launching off of Croddock.
Okay, so as you shout up,
Are
You
using
leap
Gunter as a
over
stepping
Gunter,
stone?
plant your leg onto Krodik's shoulder. Krodik having already braced himself for this very familiar move.
And the closest one is getting a spear.
Yep, roll at advantage because Krodik is helping you.
Where are you landing? I guess that
20
doesn't-
or 18.
Yeah, that hits.
The whole midair.
5.
5, okay. You do 5 points of damage. As you go over, like leaping off, you snap your foot forward and kick it in the head. The whole head just kind of slaps to the side, but it quickly turns back.
Getting another one.
You keep
And these are both happening midair, too.
Doo-doo.
24.
24, yep. Roll for damage for that.
10.
And as it turns back, your second leg, second kick to the head, snaps it aside again. Still up. Go ahead
Fucking
and roll
windmills.
For, your third attack, I believe?
Yep.
Sweep its legs.
19.
19. Roll for damage for that one, too. This one, you finally land on the other side.
9.
9, and you just headbutt it right in the back. It staggers forward a little bit. That's 9 points of damage.
Yep.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough.
How's that thing not dead? Jeez.
After all the flame strike damage. Yeah.
He's a tank.
If you guys are doing math, you can figure out how much health.
Knocking him around.
What are you doing?
Is there... There's not an easy way out.
I mean, you're on the rock.
So out in this direction, there
Yeah.
is more of this kind of like field and water and stuff. You could move in that direction.
Go that way then.
Okay, yeah.
Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Maybe about 30 feet.
Okay, so off into the table.
It's
You can see
just,
shape just kind of off, and now there's like fog and falling snow. And
Yeah.
you can't see her that
yeah,
well anymore.
the render distance is too low.
It's really low. You guys
Yeah.
are Minecraft low setting right now.
there's like some polygons that
6
start to
total
like take
polygons.
shape. and then-
Heinrich, what would you like to do? Gunter, you're next.
Tekken character.
I'm gonna. I can still see her.
Yeah.
here.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna do Eldritch Blast pushback with the hex damage in addition.
Sure.
So first bolt is, oops, sorry. First bolt's an 18.
18, that hits.
Okay, and then the second bolt, oh, well, one shy of a crit, so that's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Where's my d10? So it's 2d10 plus. Gotta use my. So it's 6, 8 plus charisma, and then the. So that's just 8 force, 4 necrotic, and then bonus action maddening hex to just do a flat 5 necrotic
Okay.
automatically.
Fantastic. That brings... Okay.
And
so-
anything within. Hold on, does it have a range?
And it
in
moves it
addition?
10 feet back, right?
Yeah, but that's like all simultaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and no creatures were in 5 feet of it, so that's
Okay.
fine.
So you can see as the first impact hits, its feet like slide in the gravel. The 2nd one hits and it slides back even further. And you can see now as this force impacts, like elements of the clothes are beginning to wear down. And beneath, there is no body. There is this kind of inky, sort of almost yellow-looking fluid that begins to seep out.
Nasty.
That is your turn.
Yeah, just gonna keep
Keep on keeping on.
just keep these people from these things from climbing up and over and getting at
Alright.
Gunter, who's
That-
still not at full, right?
Brings us to Gunter.
I'm doing fine.
Gunter, what do you want to do?
I think I'm gonna use one of my solidarity actions
Okay,
to
great.
help out Krodik,
Okay, so you're using 8 on Krodik.
and then I'm gonna use my bonus action to
attack.
smack one of these.
Go
guys.
for it. Yeah, roll your
Climb it
attack.
up on the rock, kind of.
That's a 19 plus stuff.
That hits.
Plus stuff.
Yeah, roll for damage on that guy. He's shredded up. This is
That's an 8 plus 7. Nice.
Yeah.
15 plus.
yeah, 1 hit point left.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit!
Shred him. You're using the axe.
Yeah.
So you hit it
Two-handed.
dead center of the head, two-handed, and it cleaves the skull, goes down. You can feel it pop both collarbones, and it sinks about an inch into the sternum. The head kind of cracks apart a little bit, splitting to the sides. There is no brain.
Nice.
Um,
And then.
These are hollow.
anything else?
I guess I'm just gonna move forward and be like, "Get at me!"
Okay.
Get at me.
Fantastic. It is their turn. So they are going to...
Get at you.
2 of them are going to get at you. And they're going to get at you with first 2 bites. That is going to be an 18 and a 8 to hit.
The 18 hits.
Excellent. So, with this bite, that is going to be... Damn. That is going to be 10 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
You're also taking 5 points of poison damage, but you are resistant, so 2. And then I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. So it's 12 total.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 16.
16, you're fine. You can feel almost as if this poison begins to pump into you, but your body, naturally resistant to poison, you reject it.
Yeah, it's still 16.
That is the bites. Now they're going to be 2 claw attacks. That is going to be... They both rolled 2. That's going to be an 8. Yeah, so they miss. Just as you very nimbly... Nimbly?
Nimbly. Exactly, that's how you remember.
Very nimbly, bimbly, just dodge around these strikes. That is
Gunter,
their
yell it as you're
turn.
dodging. Nimbly bimbly! That's his... That's your word of power.
Nimbly bimbly.
So this creature behind all of you, now very kind of hazy, is going to use one of its abilities called Detonate Corpse.
Oh, gosh.
You can see the corpse that is at your feet, Gunter, kind of just off to the side of you, suddenly just begin to bulge and bubble. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please. And it's any creature within 10 feet of it. So that is going to be Heinrich as well and Krodok as well.
Dex save, 19.
Okay, you're fine.
I'm not fine.
What was yours?
5.
That's a 5. Okay, yeah. You fail, and actually, Krodok fails. So, this corpse explodes, poison just like emerging from it in this cloud of fine particulates. You are going to take... That is 18 points of poison damage for you halved to 9, right? Yeah, 9. And I need you to make a... Oh, sorry. You are considered poisoned.
Oh, I should get advantage on the save then, I think, because I have saves against poisoning.
Go ahead and make another roll.
Or I have advantage against poisoning. Well, I'm still poisoned.
Okay. You are still poisoned. You are considered poisoned for an hour. However, the target of this... Oh, no, never mind. You're fine. Okay, great.
How did Krodok do?
Krodok failed, so he's taking the full amount.
How much damage was it? 9?
Yeah.
How's Krodok looking?
He's looking pretty rough.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, he's looking like...
He's looking like a bird.
About halfway hurt,
Okay.
you know?
If he
Little
had
less.
some sort of number associated with his health.
You guys would have no idea what it was.
Yeah, we would have no idea what that number is, and there would be half of it left.
That is its action. As a bonus action, it can't... So that corpse is gone.
Oh.
But it can't see any others, so it's going to cast... Or it's going to throw this little bolt of acid at you, Heinrich, and it's going to just
D6. Okay.
fucking miss.
All right.
It's a -3.
All right.
Or actually, you know what? Very
Just for the
technically-
sake of it.
Very technically, it's a 1.
Okay. All right.
Jesus Christ.
And at the end of its turn, it can try to save again, just to be completely fair. At the disadvantage, because hex.
It's an 8.
Okay.
So, you can see this thing still muddled, still not being able to make eye contact so much, and its direct attacks are just flying off into the air.
Sure.
Doing absolutely nothing.
It's seeing triple.
It is Krodok's turn, and Krodok is going to strike. It's going to just take 3 unarmed strike on that one creature in front of you, Gunter. First one is going to be a 13, which misses. The second one is going to be less. That misses. Natural 20.
Ah, there we go.
There it is.
So,
1 out of 3 every time.
Krodok deals 14 points of damage to that,
Oh.
which I believe is enough to just knock it down.
Nice.
1 damage
Da-da.
over. And so he's now going to... So after this just trio of strikes, the last one, poof, the whole body caving inwards before it flies down onto the ground. Before it hits the ground, Krodok is gone. You've seen speed like this from Shay, and he is, while actually not as fast, pretty quick, and just kind of poof, gone. You can see just like one single feather just kind of float to the ground. And before the feather hits the ground, Krodok behind the creature.
Nothing personal, kid.
For what?
For help. I gave him the help.
No, but I mean, that would just make that creature more dead. Well, you know what? Actually, hang on.
Well, could it reserve? Well, no, because it's all against the same target, right?
Yeah, and it hit.
Flurry
Yeah,
blows.
so it hit on the first one anyway. So it's not going to do anything different. But good point, because it could have, if it had
Missed all
critted
of
on the
them.
first one, theoretically could have saved him an attack, and then he could have used that attack on somebody else. So he emerges behind this Mirific and seems ready to do something else. That is Krodok's turn. Morwen, what do you want to do? Shay, you are on deck.
Remember, we just saw the body explode.
I'll dash over to the front of the big guy.
Okay. So
Which I
you
think uses
have to just
35.
leap over this recently fallen body, and you...
So that's 30.
15, 20, 25, 30... Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna
Do your
press it.
thing.
Okay,
gonna
you
do
leap
it.
over the body and run through
Gonna do my huge.
the channel of pebbles and thrust out with this rapier. Go ahead and roll your attack.
17.
17 hits.
Advantage. You want that crit, maybe? Nah.
That was such a lazy. Okay. So first 7, 8,
And she's not looking good.
12, 17, 23, 28, 33.
Tell us how it happens.
I don't even know what she looks like.
So this creature
Got
has
big
these-
eyes,
she looks
sallow
just like that.
eyes, and looks
Yeah,
like
let
that.
me take
It
a
looks like
peek
that.
see first.
My carefully painted miniature, which Matt just threw.
I'm like just move Hex onto this thing in front of
Okay.
me, just for the sake of.
1 sec before
Yeah.
you do that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like, you ugly.
Okay.
Nice.
Is that an action
Stab her.
back to do that?
Right in the face.
You guys would hear Morwen's voice just over the sound of the wind just say, "You ugly." And then you can see pus just get thrust straight between her eyes.
Thrust
You
the
can
pus.
Feel it kind of in this almost like liquid yellow, looking very much like a kind of like Boston cream
Oh.
filling almost. Begins to ooze out. The
No, I
sound
say
it was,
whoever smelt it dealt it.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't have anything clever. I don't know. It
And
smells like
as-
farts in here. I say it's her fault.
You can see these large, kind of bulbous eyes. Just little imperfections on them begin to shift as the eyes turn inwards a little bit. And it goes from making this sound to just kind of saying, and then just drops dead on the ground, not able to learn speech. It is dead, and as it dies,
Uh-oh.
you can see, Gunter, the one right in front of you, as it's turning to try to strike out, just suddenly drop lifeless to the ground. It seems as if they were bound to her will.
Ooh.
And because they are all dead, I'll take you guys out of combat.
I want to check the box.
Okay, so give me just
Oh
one sec
no,
here.
it's a trap.
Never mind. I don't check the box.
No, I do it.
Okay, I'm gonna check the
You
No,
box.
already
do
said
it.
you're checking the
I'm
box.
going to.
Your cat-like intuition.
I would though.
Yeah, it's true. You would. You would try to get in the box.
Yeah, absolutely. She would have already been in the box.
So,
Whoa.
just a little bit there. You guys just won.
What is that?
So you are going to go investigate this bard thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. So right as this happens, everything drops more and just begins to run straight towards this large crate. And as you do, you can see there is somebody inside. Almost like perfectly clean, baby blue sort of cloak, or not cloak, coat. Very, very fine coat adorns this what looks like a halfling. Kind of pale skin that's a little bit ruddy. You can see almost like he's been sweating in the temperature that's here. You can see slung across his back, there is this sort of like a lute almost. Not a lute, like a harp or a lyre almost.
Sure.
Although this has been painted like cherry red. And it's kind of slung across his back. You can see he's holding onto elements of this cage. It's fairly short, probably about 4 feet tall. But for a halfling, very, very sort of, not gaunt, but thin for a halfling. Kind of stooped a little bit. And as you approach, his eyes widen for a little bit, and he turns. This isn't some kind of a trick, is it?
I don't know. What are you doing in there?
Make a persuasion check.
Okay, a 23. Persuasion? Yes, 23.
Okay. Oh, and he sort of just wipes a little bit of sweat away. You're not it. Well, that's good. Could you let me out, please?
Wait, yeah. Who are you?
My name's not terribly important. I really, there's a creature that we need to be careful about, and his eyes are
Nah,
kind of
we just
darting
killed it.
over. You?
Yeah.
What do you mean we?
The other people. My
Turns
friends.
and looks over, kind of from his perspective, can't see behind that large pile of rocks.
I'm
and so-
returning Chronic's spear to him at this point. Probably.
Okay.
I feel like I would have just... Here you go, bud.
Okay, you turn it over, just return it to Krodek. He nods to you and accepts it back. Thank you.
Thank you.
You did well.
Yeah, I'm getting a little used to the new pews, things, talents that I
To the
don't
new
worry about
pew
it.
pews.
Thank you for your help in protecting Gunter.
Of course. Any friend of Shay's is a friend of mine. You, meanwhile, talking to this individual, he's kind of like craning his neck, trying to see who you're pointing at. Well, if you wouldn't just let me out, I would really appreciate it. There is a lock around the back, and maybe you can use your
I don't
claws.
know. What's your name?
Hell yeah.
Well, and he is kind of like scratching the back of his head. I don't want you to make a really big deal about it or anything, but name's Nilly Winslow.
Why
see
would
he's-
that be a big deal?
Oh, well,
You just deflated his ego.
no, actually, he seems, if anything, a little bit relieved. Just folks around here kind of know me.
But the dead ones that we just killed?
No, I hope not. I think they already got the people that were guarding me, but if you could let me out, I'd really appreciate it.
What's in it for me?
What do you want?
Play me a song. About me.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
I'm going to be healing Chronic while this is happening.
Okay.
I feel like it's
Go
part
ahead,
of our
roll your healing, yeah, yeah.
interchange.
That would be a 15.
Okay.
Give him 11 back.
You can see he very gently, kind of like almost lovingly, kind of strokes this instrument behind him. Well, I'll make you a deal. You get me out of here, and we can get away from this awful place, and I'll play you a song. You're from the West Coast, right?
Sure.
I got
Alright.
a song you'll love.
Yay. Okay. I'm gonna fuck around with this lock.
Okay, so you go to the back of it, and you can see probably about this big padlock. Iron, not terribly corroded like a lot of the things around here are. So brought probably fairly recently. But go ahead and make a lock picking check.
And while I'm doing it, I'm like, if you try any funny business, I'll kill you like I killed your other friends.
Not my friends, but okay.
That would be a 24.
Okay. You reach in, and it's not an easy lock. This lock, make a history check. Just in case. Maybe you're great at history today.
6.
Make that way over. Hey, Mom, when you find anything good over here?
Yeah, I found this guy who's gonna sing a song about me.
You can see as soon as he hears Gunter's voice, he kind of shrinks a little bit behind you, but peeking out as you talk to him, you see this. Sorry, I said halfling. You see it's a gnome. You see this kind of gnome just in this like powder blue jacket, this bright candy red kind of some kind of a harp, very small harp-like instrument. Just kind of gives you a little wave.
You got anything good on him?
It's got a funny blue coat.
Does it look valuable?
It looks like it fit you.
You're saying this as you're working on the log, like ignoring him entirely.
And as you say, it looks like it would fit you. Boom! You can feel the spring just kind of go, and it comes loose in your hands.
Are we the baddies?
I kind of walked up,
I think we're just
Craddock on the
doing a
shoulder,
little
and then
tease.
kept walking towards where Morwen was.
Okay. And so you also now see Morwen kind of bent down, and this small gnome just kind of waving over to Gunter. Actually, kind of withdrawing his hand from that wave now. But the lock is open. You want to
There
open the door?
you go, Willie Nelson.
I don't know
Who?
who that is?
What's his name? Nilly?
Nilly Wenslow.
Oh.
Close, though. Door creaks open, and you can see he very carefully looks around to make sure he didn't leave anything and steps out. The little bits of pebbles kind of squishing beneath his feet. He turns around to you and offers out his hand. Thank you very much. I'll definitely play you your song. Can I go with you folks? And you kind of now see you approach.
Sure.
I get a sense that it's still kind of dangerous around here.
Give me your coat.
It's
Gunter,
not gonna
Gunter,
fit you.
Gunter. I'm sorry. What did you say your name was? I'm
You can call me Nilly.
Nilly.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you.
Make a history check.
Yeah. All right.
You got anything else?
I don't make a check.
Okay.
I got a 3.
Hey, you said you had guards. Are you rich?
Not in money, but I have friends. I travel a lot.
What's
that's
this
fun. Where
guy's
are they?
deal? Gunter's
Make an
like,
insight check.
Gunter's sizing him up.
Yeah. I'd be like, what brought you to this cage in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, why is he?
Well, I wasn't trying to go to a cage in the middle of nowhere. I'm
Well, what
traveling. I'm
brought
trying to
you
get
to
some.
Can we be walking and talking?
13.
We don't know if we're bringing him yet.
We should keep moving.
What was yours?
13.
In this state, I mean, you can see he's still kind of nervous. He's looking at you every now and then because you did threaten to take his coat. And given the fact that you've now threatened him twice in the minute that you've known him, it's
threatening
kind of
him. I just
He asked.
I
you
told him.
implied danger.
Give
to
me
his
your
person
coat.
Or
Yeah.
belongings.
I mean, come on.
it's kind of hard to read him because he's just kind of
formal command.
he's genuinely nervous, is what you can make out.
He should be.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. But somebody else said something. Sorry,
Yeah. I was just.
Can we be walking and talking? Is what I asked.
it's up to you guys.
Would love
Well,
to keep moving.
we're headed. Shay, which direction
And
we
the
headed?
Colteron.
loosely.
Oh, well, I don't know if you guys heard, but Kol Taram is not looking good these days.
We're aware.
That's why we're heading there.
But
Well,
is
okay.
do you want guy? Do you want to join our company?
Choices are to travel with us or to make your ways here.
Yeah, I think looking at all of you, I have a sense that being in danger with you is safer than being safe by myself. So I'm going to tag along at least till we get out of here. And then I'll figure it out from there.
I looked at Craddock. I have the 4 if you have the rear.
Me?
No.
Craddock.
Come with me. We'll talk. I'm curious as to what brought you here, and really what someone would be doing locked in a cage in such a dangerous place.
All right, you begin to lead the party, and all of you now begin to progress,
Yeah.
presumably.
I'm still like,
Okay, you're kind of
Are
following.
you walking right
just
behind him
sizing
with your
them up.
hands like this in your pockets or something?
got anything good in those pockets?
Make an investigation check at disadvantage because you're having to do it kind of from a little bit of afar. But as you're walking and talking, you ask him,
Well, Nelly, what brought you to these parts? Why are you locked up in a cage in such a dangerous place?
well, I fancy myself a little bit of a bard.
Sure.
And I travel to. I don't really like staying in one place very long. I will.
We
admit-
don't either, to be fair.
Well, maybe this is a good match then. I'll be honest with you. I haven't always quite run the right way with the law.
And then I just kind of like
nothing
obviously.
major.
I obviously look over at Gunter. You might have a little bit in common with some of us, apparently.
I assure you, I'm a nice guy, but I can get a little angry when I drink. But I try to avoid it, and I've found that little bit of stargrass takes the edge off. Okay.
You might have a lot in common with our group, some of our group here.
Does anybody have any?
Not I, no. But where were you before here in this predicament?
I was trying to find Squall's End. Is a place that I heard about, a place of great beauty, and I got a little turned around somewhere.
Around here.
No, to the south of here. I came from Dungannon originally, and yeah, it's a beautiful city, beautiful old city.
Pretty far.
Well, I may have become involved with the daughter of an admiral, and so it seems safe to take a vacation right about now. And I need a little bit of inspiration. It's been a little bit since I've written anything, and I've heard things of great beauty exist in Squall's End. So
Well, I can assure you they do. We actually just came from there ourselves.
marvelous.
But we're not heading back, right now at least.
Well,
We may return there if you would like to stay with us. For the
let's
time
see
being.
how this goes. I'm just trying to get
Sure,
to the
of
edge of the
course.
bone meadow right now. But
As we are too. And I look to Shay, be like, which direction?
and Shea Point's almost due west.
Okay.
And so you guys begin to travel. An hour goes by, perhaps another hour if there's anything that you guys want to do. You're seeing now these stacks become shorter and shorter, and now here and there are bits of snow that can stay on the ground.
Yeah, I'm just chatting.
Are
Chatting
we
with
in
him.
like a place safe enough that we might be able to take a short rest?
Make a perception check.
I got a 13 in this.
Could I also
Okay.
request, Shay, your help? If we just would pause for a moment and regather ourselves after that encounter, I feel it might be wise.
Wait, did anyone check the person's
I
body?
got a 13. I feel like you
Perception?
would have if you were here, but I just wanted to get out of here.
27.
Okay.
27. We can say if you wanted to make a quick pat down as you guys left, you can make an investigation check. That's fine. You doing an investigation as you guys walk of Mr. Nilly Winslow.
Killer.
You see that there is a bulge in the left coat pocket. You can see
It's a weird place
somewhere
for it.
on the breast pocket there is like an internal pocket, presumably, because you can see a couple of very small shapes in there. Also, now looking at this beautiful kind of small harp-like instrument, where the chords kind of connect on the right side, the wood has been worn down. This has clearly been repeatedly painted to look nice, but it's fairly damaged. Looking at his jacket and kind of make a history check along with that, because 13 is decent enough.
That's 12.
There's a symbol on this jacket, and it has like some kind of nautical themes, but up beyond that, you don't really recognize it. I will say, given your propensity for taking things from others, this jacket doesn't quite fit him. It would fit you. It's a little big on him.
Okay.
But you guys continue to walk and talk. Perception.
I got a 20, a
Okay.
dirty 20.
So,
Or-
real quick, when you were back there, you would have found. If you
taking
would
it.
like to take them, there are these kind of flaps of leathery skin that from the ruptured point that you could take.
No, I don't want the skin
But
flaps.
digging through, you would find with a dirty 20, 22 gold,
Yay,
3
money.
silver, all fairly clean. You also find a finely filigreed gold and platinum bracelet.
Ooh.
2 sets of marriage vows that have been interwoven in Elvish. You can see, you would probably know. Yeah, you might know. No, you wouldn't. Never mind. You have no idea really why these, and it's not like marriage rings. These are like, almost like arm-sized bands.
Bangles?
Wait, what are the bands?
Gold and platinum filigree.
2.
You also find a pitted and badly corroded flag, barely legible. But probably about this big, maybe like 3 feet long. But you would find those things. So as you guys are progressing, what was your perception check?
27?
27? I would
Safe
say
enough.
you guys can find just maybe like 60 feet beyond where you are, maybe 70 feet. It's transitioning significantly more into like snow. You're seeing less of this liquid. And just around that area, you can see that there's a big dip in the ground. It's not a cave or anything, but it kind of comes up in like a almost bowl-like side that you could maybe lean into and get some shelter from.
okay to pause for about an hour, just recuperate? I know Gunter took a little...
I'm fine.
Yeah, but come on.
I'm fine.
I'm worried about you. You died and then
never
came back.
fine. You're never fine.
I'm always fine.
Well, friend, let me just tell you, somebody.
I'm not your friend. Who are you?
Oh, I'm Nilly Winslow. Introduce myself.
Give me a
first.
jacket.
Please
I'm not gonna
forgive
do
our friend here.
What's wrong with them?
A lot.
I can hear you.
I know. And you know this too.
I figured you're between us.
What's wrong with you? You're in a cage.
I was.
Oh, we go back to the cage.
Don't threaten him. He may be
Don't
able to help
threaten
us.
him with a
Yeah,
good time.
He may be able to help. That's all.
Doesn't look like it.
Well,
Doesn't
maybe he
jacket.
can prove it then. I don't know. We'll just give him a moment.
All right, friend. I think you need this more than me. And he reaches into that where you saw that original in his left pocket, that original bowl, and he produces a beautiful silver flask. He unscrews it and takes like a deep drink, and you can hear the swishing liquid. It's about half empty, but he hands it over to you. And as you smell it, it is this familiar to you. It's a kind of dwarven whiskey.
I'm gonna knock it back.
Okay, make a Constitution saving throw at disadvantage.
You are now poisoned again.
That's a Constitution 9.
9. This is a fiercely alcoholic whiskey. Calling it whiskey is really generous. I would say you might know that this is something produced in Coltaram.
Mm-hmm.
It's moonshine. It tastes fairly bad. Hits the spot, don't it? Kind of puts the cap back on and places it back in the coat pocket. Anyways, we're taking a little bit of a break.
Well, yeah, just a short little rest. I mean, we just, I guess you missed it somehow, but we took down whatever was guarding you or threatening you or whatever.
I heard a lot of commotion,
Yeah,
and there was a lot of fire.
yeah, that was. But regardless, we could take a little short rest.
Wait
here.
a second. Now, and what was your name?
I didn't tell you.
That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
I think we might actually have a little bit of a problem at some point there, but we'll figure that out when we're out of danger. But let's we'll take a break.
Take a break. Yeah, you can sit over there and Gunter quietly without him hearing. Gunter, you can sit over there. Maybe message be like don't. Come on.
Genna walks in. As he does, he unslings this kind of little harp-like thing,
Mm-hmm.
and
following him.
Over the course of your rest, he's just kind of like playing with it and trying to like retune it every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you guys want to do before you mark off a short rest?
I don't trust this guy.
I'm
Let him
also
prove
not
it
even
wrong.
gonna like
Let him
actually
prove
like
us wrong.
What's he doing?
like I'm just hanging out with Willie.
I'm trying to
Okay.
work on that. I'm trying to work on that.
No one just shows up in a cage like that.
Deliberately trying to maintain distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gain his trust and
Between
figure him out. That's
everybody.
fine. We'll do this.
Okay.
It's okay.
Kroddick during this time kind of finds a little bit of a taller person. He's keeping a little bit of a watch.
Also keeping watch.
Yeah. Okay, make a perception check.
25.
Okay. Looking around, you don't see anything of danger. It is, for this moment, probably about 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon, getting a little bit darker. But even through the snow, you know that you're getting close to an area to the north that does have these beautiful lights in the sky. And even through snow at this point, you can see just like traces of green. Very small. Kroddick probably isn't even seeing them. But there is this beautiful nature that beckons just a little bit off, but not in the direction that you're headed. But other than that, no danger.
So while resting, I guess just be like, well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Make a persuasion check.
Sure. I'm trying to be as like charmingly unarming as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
Persuasion 19.
So he stops plucking this instrument for a second, and he looks around from one person to the other, kind of skipping over you because he's already asked. I don't mean to sound rude, but none of you recognize me?
I apologize. No, we like yourself never really stay in one place long enough to really hear much detail about.
Decidedly not paying attention.
Okay.
Watching
Are you meant to?
everywhere
Are,
else.
are you meaning you carry renowned? Are you a famous performer of some kind?
Make a history check, Gunter. Gunter's check face.
I mean, no offense, of course.
None taken.
Natural 1.
I'm a lot
See, if you-
bigger out on the West Coast. Like I
Sure.
said, I do come from Dungannon, and around there's a reason that our music has made it across the continent. I can claim a small part of that.
Wait, so then might I have heard this guy?
Make a history check.
Just do it until you get it.
Now that he said this, I mean,
18.
There it is.
So now that he said Dungannon, and you're actually paying attention, apparently, there's a moment where you kind of shake your head and you look, and there's a lot of stuff about this guy that you do recognize. You don't recognize him per se. Your group kind of had their own performers and never really attended places that had bards necessarily. But you see the jacket, this powder blue jacket, is a Dungannon Navy jacket. And you can see there is kind of tilted at the wrong, and actually on the wrong side of the jacket, there is this kind of like Navy badge. It looks like an upside down anchor, and it is actually upside down. You gather very quickly he is not part of the Dungannon Navy. It's like
I was
a
about to
little
say,
large
do I
on
hate
him.
him? Okay.
I mean, that's up to you.
Yeah.
But
A little bit.
there are elements of this, and you remember as you guys were walking him, you overheard him say that Stargrass is something that he is really, he uses to take the edge off. And Stargrass is definitely a Dungannon phrase. It's called pipeweed up here, pipe leaf up here. And then there are elements all of a sudden that do pull into your mind. And I'll say that you recall a song. Let me find it real quick. Or the words to a song. Which are this. And
Make
it
me
is.
sing 'em.
You don't have to sing. It is a very popular song out west that has to do with the loss of a loved one and the ability of Stargrass to take that away.
Very Western.
It is. It's very much a Western song. Dungannon. So the music that Dungannon produces, Dungannon is a little bit Memphis-y in terms of its
They're a
influence
little
on the
bit
music scene.
country.
Just a little bit country.
Sorry, dude.
Sorry.
But you gather that he is probably telling the truth about being from Dungannon, and then you're recognizing now his voice, something about it. I mean, this guy, probably a pretty well-known bard. You've never met him, and you don't really know him necessarily, but you're starting to put together the way that he says Stargrass and the way that you've heard the song sung. You might be a pretty well-known bard.
I keep that all to myself.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter much. Nilly Wenslow's a name that you might want to ask around about when we get to a more civilized place.
Sure. And it's music, right? Because if it were books, I mean, I probably would have heard of you. That's my medium.
I'm a writer, but music is really my passion. I've written a couple songs that you might have heard about, but it's been a while since I've really had anything to write about, and you can't really tell a song if you don't have a story. So I'm
Understood. I
looking
mean,
for some kind of inspiration.
been writing
I'm right
myself.
here.
Do you say that?
She does a lot of things, that's
Make-
for sure.
Make a persuasion check.
She's got this one get up that's very weird looking and loves to
20.
dance.
T3.
You say this and you blink your most charming sort of smile. Your hair in this brief moment with the snow kind of whipping past, your hair kind of goes out.
Oh, can I use minor illusion to summon a backdrop?
What does it look like?
It's like as if we're back on the boat.
Okay.
Out to sea. It's
all
sort
of
of
a
like
sudden-
like clouds and seagulls and shit like that.
And
I'm like,
ta-da, it's
Gunter's face.
snails.
Re-roll that persuasion check because it is now at disadvantage.
oh wait, I gave her advantage with the backdrop.
Yeah, but she's covered in snow.
All right.
Well, that one was higher, so I
Okay.
stayed with the 23.
So in this moment, all of a sudden, for everybody else watching, the snow shifts into these beautiful, floating, fluffy clouds. You can
like a
see
depth illusion,
all of a
kinda.
sudden this little kind of seagull-like shape just kind of dart out and then into the edges of the illusion fade off. You can see just in the back the little bits of like a corner of a sail just flapping.
Yeah, a little bit of
And then
sea
all
spray.
of a sudden, with her hands already out, you see Morwen just go ta-da, and the rivulets in the or the rivets in the armor suddenly seem to twist and swirl into this like shell-like pattern, and snails just emerge out, covering your body.
And I'm just kind of like, oh, and
This
the
glamour-
illusion just fades.
This glamoured armor being totally misused. And you can
See, she could do that at least.
Well, that's unusual, for sure. But you know what? There's something going on with you. I can't quite
Sure
describe
is. Sure is.
There's a lot going on with that one. With all of us, to be fair.
It sure seems like it. I still have questions for you whenever you're ready to talk. I don't know. It doesn't seem like right now.
I wouldn't push.
But just maybe. I'll keep an eye on you.
Well, play us,
Ta-da.
give us a little bit of a reason to, not the reason
Like
to
in
believe
the
you.
snails.
No, just like a thumbs up.
Just like it's regular armor with just a hand doing this in the middle.
Yeah.
So the snails all of a sudden shrivel back in, except for one that just kind of grows larger, and the swirl pattern in the shell straightens out into one finger, and all of a sudden they close, and it's just a thumbs up right in the middle of the chest.
What's that mean? I'm just kidding. I know what that means. I don't.
Time to go.
What? No, well, we're still resting
You guys
here.
can mark off a short rest. If you
Okay.
want.
This has been an entertaining short rest. Could you have played us a song, and then I was trying to get him to play us a song during this.
Maybe let's get out of here though first.
Again, I kind of said we're trying to keep it.
That's true.
quiet
You're right.
and
You're right. And let's
when we
maybe
get
not draw
somewhere
attention
safer,
to ourselves.
absolutely happy to sing you. I have a couple songs.
All right. So
You guys
I'm
are heading to
gonna-
Colteram?
Yeah.
I got a great song for you.
Great.
Let's
Perfect.
keep going.
At the end of the short rest, not only getting my spell slots back, y'all have 10 bonus hit points.
That's true. So as you finish this long
Just
rest,
so you know.
there's a moment where Heinrich, you'd be the only one that could really see this. But as you kind of stand up and stretch and get ready, and all of them begin to kind of assemble and gather their things, on each one of them, just barely visible, you can see almost like the suggestion of a halo. That is your 10
Ooh.
bonus hit points.
Ooh.
Which will fade
Pretty.
when you lose those hit points. So you guys continue to progress. Now going beyond the bone meadow, leaving it behind, the sulfur smell fading behind you. Another 30 minutes go by, and you are now beginning to pass by elements of trees. With the storm abating somewhat, right around 5 o'clock, the last bits of daylight filtering through, you now see suggestions of a mountain. And with this sort of sunlight beaming down, you can see through the snow and the clouds this almost aura of a golden glow, the sunlight bouncing off the golden dome of Colteram. This mountain, perhaps another 2-hour walk away to get to the base. And remembering Gamble's words to circle around to the west,
Yep.
probably another 4 hours till you get where you're trying to go.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do?
Where I'm going. Heading that way.
You begin to walk. Croddock stops his kind of vigil and turns and follows you. Croddock turning around, a little friendlier than Shay. I believe we are going.
Ah. Then on we go. And I turn to Nilly and like, let's keep this conversation going.
Absolutely. Gets up and kind of re-holsters his instrument. And because it is 11 o'clock, went a little long, we're going to take our break. So it is 10:58. Figure we will be back right around, call it 11:10?
Sure.
Okay, 11:10. We'll see you then.
11:10, we'll see you then. All right. Nice.
Welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Thank you very much for staying with us through the break, and congratulations for missing the last comment before we came back.
It's really good that you did.
You did, yeah. You can sleep better than we can.
Yeah. Jesus, thank you, Alec.
You're welcome.
So yeah, thank you so much for everybody for sticking through the break. Thank you, Talon, for the bits. Thank you,
Yeah.
Campfire Quest, for the raid. The guys are all on the top cameras tonight because we switched one cable, so it's not supposed to be like that.
Hey, well,
so you know. Somebody commented on it, so I wanted to clear it up.
well, damn, gotta give him something for
Sexist.
paying such close
When I go
attention.
like this, it's not
Patriarchy.
actually
It's the
pointing to
patriarchy.
thing.
Fucking patriarchy.
Anyways, it's
I'm
cables.
like pointing it.
And very technically, it was you that switched the cables, wasn't it?
No, it's the cameras, not the
The
cables.
cameras themselves.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
That's on
Fair
me.
enough, fair enough.
That's on Miles.
That's on
It's on the Patreon.
It's on the
patriarchy.
patriarchy made a mistake to make the patriarchy ahead.
Fair enough. Anyhow, when we left off,
mean to.
the Finger Gang,
Nice.
the Finger Gang plus Croddick plus Nilly Wilson are all Nilly Wenslow.
Thank you, because now I'm gonna forget if you actually start doing that.
Yeah, same.
Nilly, well then you, I mean that's kind of on you guys.
No, no.
Nilly
right.
Wenslow
All right.
are progressing forth to the west, to the northwest actually, towards Coltron. Shay, you just caught sight of it off and in the distance. It is growing dark. Imagine 3 to 4 hours to get there. Probably have another 45 minutes of light. What do you guys want to do?
I think keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
We just took a short rest. We can make it at least
I'm
to
grilling Nilly.
Okay.
I'm
Grilly Nilly?
following along.
You're
but I'm
going
just
all
like,
grilly nilly.
Just watching him the whole
Kick
time.
the mask down.
Okay. All of a sudden, Shay, you lower this mask that looks like a beautiful gilded red hawk. And as you pull it over, it goes from this kind of fading light and just bits to grayscale, but just you can see outlines of everything. For the first time in your life, you can see in the dark.
I'm going to go up to Croddick and be like, hi.
Croddick's head kind of darts down and looks at you. Hello, Morwen.
I thought you were really brave in that last fight.
Thank you. Bravery can come in many forms. You held your own well.
Thanks.
He turns and just keeps walking. Are you just kind of like walking next to him awkwardly? Okay.
Smiling.
Okay. He doesn't seem to notice, especially, but you walk and you smile. You guys progress. You're leading make a perception check as you guys walk.
24.
Okay. You walk for about an hour, and although you were not aware of it, the sun does go down. You continue to move, and the snow letting up somewhat as you go. Every now and then, Morwen, I would say you hear behind you Nilly sort of mumbling something about a black cat, and then, no, that won't work. And just kind of, he seems to be kind of thinking up of a song, attempting to write a song about Morwen.
Still smiling.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say, hey, Croddick.
Eyes kind of turn down again. Yes, Morwen.
I can see in the dark.
Wonderful.
Can you?
Yes.
Oh.
In a
How
way.
many fingers am I holding up? No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's a very weird way of
Roll
flirting.
for initiative.
Yeah. What the fuck?
So, you guys continue to walk. As you do, you keep your ears alert, you keep your eyes out, and you're trying to sense for any kind of danger that could be coming.
Yep.
Very interestingly, you notice nothing. But not nothing as in nothing dangerous. You see really nothing. There are no animals. And though the north is unforgiving, it is a living place. And you see RX around here. Even this far north, every now and then you might even come across a penguin that's wandered very far. But you see nothing. You don't see, in this freshly fallen snow, any tracks. You don't see displaced snow in the trees. It's a very quiet place. You continue to walk. Another hour goes by. You're getting close to about 8 o'clock at night now. Now, no more than 500 feet away, you're nearing the base of Mount Taram. You can see now, drawing closer to it, the rocks stretching up and up and up and into the clouds. while not as tall as Mount Yishi, not even by a little bit. I mean, I think Koltaram, to check my notes, but I believe it's only about 7,000 feet tall at the apex of the Golden Dome. So about half as tall. But you can see coming off of it, there are like little scraggly bits of growth that at one point were trees before the permanent kind of winter set in. You can see here and there elements of like very small caves in the rock. You would imagine animals would live in there, although you see no sign of them being habitated now.
Right.
But no danger. You guys want to progress?
As long as the group is not complaining.
How are we feeling?
Getting tired. Probably another hour or two, and you're going to be looking at exhaustion rolls.
And that's an hour or two to the base? How long do we got
The
to
base
go?
is about 500 feet away.
So we've
you're
already made...
there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, Chaotic.
Is there...
Yes, Mormon.
So what made you decide to come with us after all?
Shay mentioned.
Decidedly ignoring.
Well, you're at the front and they're at the back.
Not paying attention.
Yeah,
I've caught up
we're
'cause
bringing
we're-
up the rear.
I've caught up because we're going to be figuring out about what we're
Decidedly
doing. So.
not paying attention.
Like...
I believe that when Ares said that you had no path, I think that you may be important in all of this.
Oh.
I don't know how many chances we will have against this dragon, but this seems like it may be our best bet.
So important to... You think I'm important to all of this?
I think that in a place where all paths must end, one with no paths may be the answer.
You think I'm the answer?
I think in terrible odds, you still manage to do amazing things.
You think I'm amazing?
Yes.
Just to get it over.
I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
After watching you in battle, you would have made a fine monk.
Shay, anything? Shay, do you see any place where we could maybe like make a
Babies?
camp
No,
or
just kidding.
something? I like noticed you noticing it, and I'm just like trying to help you not notice it. Be like, a camp or somewhere to stay. I don't think we should at least attempt entry tonight. Correct?
Speak for yourself.
That's like 5 marks right there. Jesus. What are you
I'm
drinking, anyways?
amazing. Lemonade.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Just lemonade.
For once. Actually,
Actually, for once, yeah. Yeah. Oh, how the
I almost
turntables.
died from that. When I like
Inhaled water.
spit
Oh,
when you, yeah.
yeah.
Unfortunate.
All right. So,
What's
should we? I don't think it would be
in the
wise.
immediate area? I guess is my question.
So in the immediate area, it's fairly level ground at the base, but it juts up and goes fairly, not vertical, but it would be very difficult to climb. There is no path on this face of the mountain as there is on Mount Yishi.
Is it snowing again?
Very lightly.
Okay.
But you can see there are like elements of boulders that jet out from the mountain itself that you could definitely take shelter in. If you were to head another 300 feet away from the mountain and off to the west further, there is woods that you could take shelter in. But at the moment, you're just kind of in flat. Every now and then, like little tree, but mostly just snow.
I think I'll tuck everybody into
You're gonna tuck us in.
yes, the first accessible place.
Like alcove in the mountain, or
Yeah.
okay.
And do a quick survey of the base of the mountain
Okay.
and see what we're dealing with.
Fair enough. You guys follow?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you approach the mountain going almost straight ahead. You can see that there's an area, it's like an oval, like bigger than a boulder. This is like a large piece of the mountain that is kind of sheared off and then slid down. but it creates a perfect kind of lean-to covering. There is a gap, so there is a little bit of snow that's going to get in, and it's not flush up against the mountain, but it provides probably 20 feet long and about 13, 14 feet wide, a nice kind of overhang. You can get everybody kind of situated in there, and then make a perception check.
That's a natural 20.
Okay.
Everything.
It's dark, and so your range of vision a little bit limited, but really kind of stopping, and I'll say, you kind of get out of the alcove and kind of walk a little bit towards it. You can see there is, right at the edge of your vision, you can see this big kind of boulder, kind of narrow, and then still between here and there, and then looking out to the out, no footsteps, no signs of landing, nothing really disturbed. You can see off to the west there is this kind of tree line. The trees here are a little different than the ones that you've seen back just a little bit. You can see that there is elements of kind of bluing to the leaves. These are like spruce trees perhaps. But even those leaves are kind of like frozen. You can see like elements of light kind of glistening off this ice. Not a lot dangerous.
Making my pass through and then on the way back, really looking for an entrance
Okay.
or things out of the ordinary.
With your perception check, I mean, you're not seeing, and you feel pretty confident that you would have picked it out. You don't see caves, you don't see like footsteps or paths or things that look, I mean, there are areas that you could begin to climb the mountain if you wanted to.
Sure.
They're not paths. They are difficult at best.
Okay.
You might be able to do it. There are other members of your party that probably couldn't.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. I'll make my way back to the group.
Okay. As you do, Krodok is kind of standing at the sort of entry point, or the front entry point to this area. He nods to you as you return. Is there anything that we need to be concerned about?
Not at the moment.
Okay. If it seems safe, I will probably find rest on the top of this. It is a bit
Please
more
do.
comfortable for me.
Please do.
He leans forward and his forehead very briefly kind of touches yours. Thank you.
Of course.
And he turns, and you can see as he gets to the entrance, he turns and looks up, and there's this brief flutter, and the wing that is broken doesn't quite unfurl. And he looks kind of sheepish and kind of walks around to climb up and onto the top.
Good night.
You shout that out?
Nah, but I'm gonna say it to him.
Okay.
I'm not gonna yell it.
As he turns, you just say goodnight. And he turns and stops for just a second. Good night, Morwen. Sleep well.
You too.
And he turns and progresses up to where he was sleeping.
I'm gonna linger for probably about an hour just to keep an eye
Okay.
on things.
Anybody else, things that they would like to do before finding a long rest?
I'm considering, will this do anything to Krodok?
The hell you
Make
trying to do to
Make
Krodok?
an intelligence check.
That's not good intelligence check.
What is it?
This an 8.
Maybe.
Okay. I think I'm gonna try it before I go to rest, though, so that I don't.
Okay. So describe what this looks like, because you haven't done this before.
I'm gonna I think I'm gonna like go over to Krodok and be like, "Hey, buddy, you look like you've got some tension in your shoulder."
So as he's trying to climb up onto the roof, you come up behind him.
Just creepily start rubbing his shoulders.
I am going to
been
watch
looking
this and be
like-
like,
Okay.
what the fuck?
He's like 6'3", this guy. And so you have to reach way up to get his
Real
shoulders.
stiff lately.
And is there a material component to this?
It's diamond dust worth at least 100 GP,
Okay.
which the spell consumes. So
You have diamond dust? Different than diamonds.
no, then.
So as you massage Krodok, you can see his whole body kind of stiffens. And he turns for a second, and you can see he kind of pulls away and just says, I'm okay. Thank you.
Are you sure your wing looks pretty...
Wing dinged up.
I am trying to...
It was a message, by the way. Sure. Anytime I say stupid shit, it's only a message to Gunter.
I'm trying to remember that I am more than just wings.
Well, yeah, you've got a beak, too, and you've got...
Good night, Gunter. And he climbs up and very athletically manages to leap the last 10 feet and lands on the roof. You can see he just kind of disappears.
The hell?
Hey, you got some diamond dust?
I mean, we could try to make some. Can I
You
just
got
like
some
scratch
diamonds?
two against each other?
I don't know.
Wait, what?
Guess.
Does anybody have a jeweler's kit? That would have the necessary components to do that.
So you can't
Why?
just like...
What, you trying to... Why are you
It's a
trying
dime, my
why are you
guy.
trying
You want to try?
trying to fix his wing, make him more,
fix his
confident
wing.
to help
Sure.
you out.
How is a back rub
I'm
gonna
walking
fix
over to
his
Shay
wing?
and be like, Shay,
I'm on
what do
your
you
side.
what do you make of all this?
I
It
see the way
seems
you
like
look
you're
at it.
unsettled.
I
I'm
take out my diamonds.
incredibly unsettled.
Okay. As you guys begin to talk, you hear
Yeah.
from behind you this... as Morwen just begins scratching two diamonds together.
I'm just like,
It makes a bad sound. That's
Yeah.
about it.
All right, I need 100 gold worth.
We'll give it to Heinrich to try. He doesn't sleep.
That's true.
that's true.
Oh, also, Heinrich.
Get-
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Yes.
Psst.
And I lean in a message, be like, you can talk like this if it's a secret. Just think it.
What?
Keep an eye on the,
Yeah, keep an eye on Millie Wells.
That's-
yeah.
Why?
You
And
can't
as,
hear
as,
it.
as you said that, he's right behind you. He was trying to get your attention.
Wait, also, but you wouldn't be involved
You
in that
wouldn't
'cause
be
it's in
able
our
to hear.
minds.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you didn't
You just see you
I
as-
thought we were still like...
No, I use
I thought
message.
we were just hanging
But
out.
we'll get to this, but Nilly is trying to get your attention, so we'll get there in a second.
So we're like messaging. I'm just like, I look and then I kind of like look away as if like we're not talking. I'm just kind of like looking at the cave, but we're still talking. As-
Yeah.
to not draw attention.
Oh, I'm just like this.
Yeah, I know, but
Okay.
I'm not. To
but,
Nilly, it looks very weird. Probably.
He's trying to talk to Gunter.
Okay, then
Yeah.
good. He doesn't
Just
notice.
keep an eye on him because not that I don't trust him, but I got a lot of shit. Don't want anything taken.
It's alright. It's kind of weird that he was so pristinely preserved in a cage in such a dangerous place. It sets off some bells for sure.
Yeah, he's also wearing a Dungana navy.
Yeah, it did look ill-fitting. What do you make of
I
that?
don't think it says, but it smells a little fishy.
Yeah. This
I
guy
think
has a
it's
lot in common with us.
weird.
He stole something from a navy. We stole something from a nautical-based organization as well. I hope they're
Just
doing
don't
okay.
know,
By the
don't
way,
know if friend or foe.
agreed.
And good night.
Yeah. Yes.
Get out.
Good night.
With my mind.
And then I say out loud, like, "Good night, Mormon." After a long, awkward pause of her staring at me, "Good night, Mormon."
Good night.
While this is happening,
Yeah. Will make my way over to Shay now to talk after that.
Nilly kind of taps you on the back.
Why are you looking at me?
Because I saw you looking at him, so now I'm looking at you.
Excuse me, friend.
Ah!
I couldn't help but overhear you might be in the market for some kind of diamond dust.
Oh, you got something in your pocket?
More fucking drugs for Gunter.
Well, I might have come across a little bit.
I'll
and,
give it over.
Well, here's the thing. It's kind of hard to find. And this in particular was kind of hard to come by. So maybe we could work out some kind of a trade.
What kind of trade?
What do you got to offer?
Whole diamonds.
Safe passage with us. How's that? Oh, you're already getting that for free.
Well, right. So usually when you trade something, it's for something I don't already have.
Well, you don't have that for sure if we just leave you here.
That's true. But, I'm beginning to suspect that some of your friends don't quite agree with your ways.
Well, I'm beginning
I'm
to
stepping
suspect
in here.
that
Okay.
you're wrong.
And let's all calm down.
And-
Let's all calm down. How much of that dust have you got? Show me first.
Oh, all right.
I like
And
to see my dust before I buy it.
he reaches into the right side of his coat and he pulls out a really big bag. And as he opens it up, you can see, you know a little bit about the value of gems. Probably about 250 gold worth of diamond dust.
I'm going to use command gimme.
What's the save on that?
Oh my god. This is not good. We're gonna get into a fight at the
Wisdom
base
save?
of the
And
mountain.
it's a disadvantage
With
too if
each
you
other.
are. Isn't there a disadvantage clause in it?
No.
I might be thinking of something else. Okay, so command.
I think
Yeah.
suggest.
It has to be one word too.
Gimme.
Give me. Wow. Wow. English. English, everybody.
That's a 10.
Oh shit. All
You
right.
could see he turns, and you,
Whatever.
as his eyes turn, you could see
I
as
don't
he's
notice
turning,
this.
it's this kind of confused look,
I'm paying attention to the outside.
and he just puts the bag in your hand.
I scurry off.
I guess you guys are giving me safe passage, so
We'll take
Nothing's
that as
free.
trade for getting you out of the cage. How about that?
that seems fair enough to me.
The song you can write just for fun, if you want.
Yeah.
You
That's
probably
still-
you probably will want to. I wouldn't blame you.
Can I ask you what is his deal? Because he made fire apparently, and I saw quite a bit of it.
It's old. Has a lot of tricks. Learn
Yeah,
some stuff.
you don't get to be 287.
No, you scurried off.
Anytime age is mentioned, you just pop out
Well-
of like a convenient corner.
Is he like some kind of wizard or?
287.
I don't really know. I
Wow.
think he's just a special friend.
That gives me absolutely no information whatsoever, but I'll endeavor to try to figure out what's going on with him.
Magician never tells his trick. I don't know.
Well, that's just the thing. So if he's a wizard, it means that he used all of his time and his countless years, clearly, to research magic. That makes a lot of sense. But otherwise, a little bit more fishy.
I'm sorry. Are you? What are you trying to say? I'm just my friend.
I've traveled a lot, and I've seen quite a few things. And in my experience,
As have I. I'm giving him a hairy eyeball.
okay,
The
I'm sure.
lazy eye.
I mean, you're clearly not from around here, and so I'm sure you've traveled a great distance, but I've been around quite a ways. Been across the Emerald Expanse. I've even, very long time ago, been to Mythelstream. Traveled about as far as you can on this globe without going lengthwise, and in my experience, magic is never good.
Well, it's not always bad either, right?
Have you ever experienced good magic?
Yeah.
Oh,
When?
Flashback to mending.
He's fixed windows. Tables. He brought Heinrich back to life. That's all
Okay.
good stuff. That fire was to kill other bad things.
So it kind of sounds like he's like a necromantic repairman.
You could say that.
So you
That's
understand
not wrong.
my concern,
Invented a new
Yes.
and this doesn't bother you at all.
Nope.
All right, and he kind of like stands up, brushes his legs off. I'm gonna go sleep not very well. So have a good night. And he kind of treks off to the
Sweet
furthest kind of
dreams.
corner,
Thanks
and
for the dust.
of course, just kind of wedges himself into the back,
Making
takes
my
his,
way up
his
to Bug
loot out, and just kind of
Chronic
holds
now.
it. Doesn't seem terribly settled. Where are you going?
I'm going up to Bug Chronic again.
Okay, make an
With the-
athletics check. You have to
with the
climb
bag.
up about 15 feet of rock.
Natural 20.
Oh,
You are so
shit,
determined to
That
do
is the
this.
best massage he's ever gotten.
So, Shay, you
The
be
rock.
very mindful of this
Oh,
entire situation.
I thought he was massaging
kind
him
of watch,
again.
and you see Gunter grab a bag out of Nilly's hand and just kind of run off. And you watch as he goes and looks up, and suddenly Gunter like scurries up the side of this thing, very, very limber for
Cartoony?
his age. And as you get up, you get up by like putting your arms on the top, and your leg kind of kicks over.
Yeah.
Croddick is already kind of standing over you as you get up.
I'm like, hey, help me up.
He reaches down.
Guidance.
and very easily picks you up. Gunter, it's probably not safe
Yeah,
for you.
no, it's fine. I'm gonna start dumping the diamond dust on my hands.
Oh my god!
Like 100 GP worth.
So like
No, like so half the bag.
so 2/5 of
He's
it.
got like
Okay.
yeah.
2/5 maybe.
Take about half the bag, maybe 2/5 or so, and you rub it on your hands.
And just start bleeding profusely.
I'll be like, here, just. I've seen the way that Morwen looks at you. She wanted me to come take a look
Make an
at you.
athletics check, because he does not want you to touch him with your glowing blue hands now.
Oh
Too
shit!
bad, because that's a dirty 20.
That's a dirty touch.
Too bad.
He rolled a 7, which means he only got 15. So yeah, you all of a sudden just seize onto his wing. He tries to pull back, but your little mitts are kind of gripped in, and all of a sudden,
like pull it out and like try to inspect it. Be like, oh.
so as you pull it out, your hands
must
covered
hurt.
in this diamond dust are no longer covered in diamond. It's this kind of glowing blue sort of aura, and as you straighten it out, running it along, this blue seems to coat the wing and begin to spread down and seep in. You can see alarm on Krodik's face.
Oh,
What are you
looks
doing?
like-
And then all of a sudden, his expression shifts into more like a relaxed, almost like a pleasurable look. And you can hear kind of
thing you're not there.
subliminal underneath his throat, this faint kind of coo.
Oh, save it for Morwen.
Gunter, I don't know what you're doing, but
But don't stop.
please continue.
Well, it looked like your wing was pretty bummed up, and I've seen the way Morwen's looking at you. Don't think I don't notice.
What does that have to do with my wing?
Well, she likes confident men, and your confidence is lacking. So I figure you fix up your wing, you fly again, you're back on your feet, and there you go.
Take her out to
Bingo,
a nice
bango,
dinner.
and you're more useful to us. You're kind of useless right now.
You need to understand. And he kind of pulls away a little bit. And you can see his wing is, I mean, it looks pretty good.
Getting pretty good there, huh?
You need to understand, Gunter, I don't think I will be able to fly again.
Well, don't just count yourself out just yet. And I start really massaging that
Okay,
wing.
this time he kind of pulls away, and you can hear this kind of, and he kind of lifts onto his toes, and all of a sudden his expression changes again, and this time it's kind of almost sadness tinged with just a little bit of hope. And he steps back. Wait,
Give that a try.
what
Give it
did
a
you just
stretch.
do? And he now, it's again, you can see it's kind of flaps twice.
Back at, how long ago was that? It doesn't matter. I saw someone do it a bunch of times once back when I was, you know,
In your hundreds.
I was 197. Sometime around there.
Okay, I thought you were older.
I'm older than
He steps over to the edge of this thing and kind of gives it like a test. He turns, and you can see maybe just the faintest bit of doubt still. All right. Everybody needs to fall sometime.
Yeah, but you know what they say. What do you do when you fall?
I don't know. And he leaps off the side, and there is this kind of flap, and you from the bottom can see just Krolek's feet, almost as if he's about to drop, and then just disappear. And off
Oh,
in
he
the
runs
distance,
away and never comes back.
you hear after like 5-6 seconds, almost like a red hawk, but you would be able to tell this is a very elated Krodik, who is now at least 80 feet up in the air. You, from up top, you see him drop briefly and then soar. And all of a sudden you hear just this
Wipe
kind
off
of,
the rest of the dust.
yeah. You hear just this one squawk as this, not squawk, one, it's not a howl, I don't really know how to describe
Caw?
it. A caw.
Yeah.
Long, predatory caws. It just kind of goes up, and then you kind of hear behind you this, and you can see as the wings slowly lower Krodik to the ground, this almost, for this beak, almost like this kind of upturned look, and he crosses the distance between you quickly, and all of a sudden he scoops you up underneath your armpits and lifts you. He's strong. Lifts you with all of your armor and wraps up into the top and just almost half spins and then drops you down gently. Gunter, I don't know how you did that.
Don't worry about it.
But this bird, once broken, can now fly.
Yeah, that was the point.
There may be more to you than meets the eye.
That's what I've been saying.
He kneels down onto one leg now, just like a little bit shorter than you. Gunter.
Yeah.
I owe you a great debt.
Don't worry about it. I'll get you sometime.
I'll inconvenience you later.
Please, if there is anything I can do, don't hesitate to ask.
I'll keep that in mind. But I think for now you should probably go show off your new tricks to, I'm gonna kind of eyeball down over at Moron.
Again, Moron's underneath like a large rock over everybody, but okay.
And I'm in my pajamas. No, don't. My reading glasses are on, and
my neck cranes out, and like it's just all the way around.
I'm still
horrified.
a little bit confused, but if you think it is best. He kind of just steps and just drops down off the edge, the wings kind of lowering him to the ground safely.
No, I gotta get down.
He turns around, and all of a sudden, Morwen, you can see Krodok, his wings full and healed, striding over to you. He stops, maybe 3 feet away.
I'm in my pajamas.
Morwen.
Hi.
Gunter told me to do this. And he turns, and his wings just spread out, and they kind of flutter twice and fold back up. Are you... And all of a sudden, your pink smiley face, yellow pajamas back into their leather. Are you impressed?
Yes, very.
Have a good night, Morwen. And he turns and
sure will.
still seems kind of confused, but walks off. He has no idea what's going on.
But up on the rock, still just like...
over and sees you, Shay, kind of still standing guard, and looks over, and Heinrich kind of sees that you very much, and at this point knows you don't sleep.
Yeah.
Seems to be comfortable now, not standing guard, and kind of tucks himself into a corner. You can see the head kind of come to rest against the feathers, and very quickly, Krodok finds sleep. And you would notice these very, very quiet, almost kind of chirps as he sleeps. He's quite happy. But anything else people would like to do before the evening?
I think I'm gonna sleep
Suss
up there.
this dude
I don't
out
wanna
and
go
get your
down.
opinion on him.
Okay.
Well, I can sleep
The
down
Millie
there.
guy.
It's easier for you to climb up than it is for me to climb down, okay?
All right, fine. I come looking for you and sleep outside with you.
Okay. After
Wait, actually? Is everyone sleeping on top of the rock tonight?
it's just Gunter and Morwen.
Oh, because
Krodok's
Krodok's
went back
inside.
down.
Okay.
I'm like looking down like, I'll sleep up here.
It's like really cold though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean,
I've
you're
got
wearing
my
warm weather
ring.
gear. You have the ring of warmth. You guys are, well, not comfortable, not in danger of freezing. to
I've
death.
also got
Okay.
I have
don't
the
think it's
other
wise.
4 cold winter gears. I'm gonna make like a little cocoon out
Okay.
of those.
So as you come to the roof, you can see Gunter kind of fussing and making a little like donut of different cold weather gear.
Oh, very nice to jump right in it.
Okay.
I can.
Now scooch over.
Shay, could you go and usher them inside, please? I don't think it's a good idea to be out and not. If anything,
Inside.
if anything is out and about, or if there are patrols or anything, they might see these two up
Is
on
there
top of
snow?
the rock. Should we get them underneath?
Is there snow on
Yeah.
top of the rock?
Yeah.
Oh,
3
They'll
inches
have a
of
hard
snow.
enough time getting to them.
I'm gonna make a little igloo with control water.
And
Okay.
At that, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it.
So you guys can kind of hear this like dun, 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 as these the snow coalesces into bricks and settles into. Make a performance check. Are you trying to make like an ice palace here, or what are you trying to do?
Just like a little, a nice little.
Don't worry
cozy,
about it then. Easy
A
enough.
little cozy nook for us to sleep in.
You craft over-
Our little crow's nest up there.
Climb all the way down. I'll just
Over your
make a-
cold weather gear nest, you
snow.
create a nice little dome of snow to create a fairly comfortable igloo.
Yeah, just a little igloo.
I mean, I feel like you could have just made stairs also to help yourself get down, but like that's fine.
It's Gunter we're talking about.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't think of that.
That face.
That was like a universally readable expression. That
Yeah,
was
like,
pretty good. Yeah.
That's just the last words I say and go to bed.
And Gunter's just like,
Just like
He cries himself to sleep. So we're outside of the shelter or whatever. You're like, is it strange? Should we be worried about someone like that being in such a dangerous place and perfect
that was
condition
still a
seeming?
neutral act.
Why was he
Because I
captured here?
stole the diamond dust.
anyone could be suspect. I couldn't tell you.
And even
25 insight.
For whom? For Nilly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guess a bad egg.
I mean, I feel like I would have also attempted that at some point too.
Yeah.
I just
Let's figure out the best route to get to here.
Ooh.
Uh,
Oh, he's actually in here.
He's out now. We took him out.
How do we get him out?
Let me see. I don't know if you can. You
That's
probably can. There's probably like a...
There must be, but I'm
don't
scared
snap
to.
anything.
I think the bottom comes off, it seems
Yeah,
like.
but it's really.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Okay, there he is.
Oh, he looks like Cold Miser.
What is that?
It's...
That's what came out of the cage.
Oh, he was in the cage. I didn't realize I put him in there.
Wilson.
Yeah, it is. It's
Winslow.
Nilly Winslow. All right. I haven't finished painting him, but I forgot that I put him in there just to let him dry. So, that is what you figure out.
Shay, I see you lost in thought.
He's probably not our primary concern.
But a concern. More just thievery, stealing from us, or like danger, harm, kind of.
I don't get the sense that he's an overt concern. He's certainly probably got a criminal past, but
Okay.
nothing worth losing sleep over.
Well,
Nice
Necessarily.
all right. I'll keep an eye on him, I suppose, as well as kind of just gesture around, be like, whatever may be out here, if anything at all. If you need a rest, or if you had anything else to do, that's fine. I'm just gonna stand at the entrance and look at him and look out and look at him.
Yeah.
Perhaps you should find something else to do with your downtime.
Hmm.
As a thought.
Yeah.
Get a jab.
I'll figure something out.
Are you set for the evening?
I have nothing else other than kind of getting ready to enter this mountain.
Not what I was asking, but
Well, what are you asking then?
if I go to sleep, are you
I
alright?
will. I will keep watch at least over you and Croddock and this one for any jostled, horrible, nightmare-looking things, if that's what you're referring to.
Keep an eye on that one.
I'll do my best to get up there every once in a while. Because I have to climb up there every time.
If only somebody made stairs.
I know.
Don't worry about them. I'm not worried about them. At this point, considering he's survived the dead.
Fair. I mean, I'll keep an eye on the three of you down here. You and Lily and Croddock.
If you need anything, let me know.
I will. Now go get sleep. Today was rough.
Yes. You have no idea.
Mm. I think I got a pretty good idea. But okay. Great.
Good night.
See you in the morning.
Sweet dreams.
So, all of you can mark off a long rest. Is there anything that you wish to accomplish?
I mean, over the course of the night, just checking on people for nightmare-looking kind of senses.
Okay.
That's one, and then the other would just be like keeping watch, checking the book.
Morwen, Shay, and Gunter, could you please make Constitution saving throws?
Natural
dirty
20.
20, dirty 20.
Natural 20.
Dirty 20.
A 3.
Morin's having dreams.
It was a 1.
Uh-oh.
But 3. Thank God I boosted my constitution today because. Just second.
Okay. Over the course of the night, first of all of you can mark off a long rest, including you, Morwen.
Okay.
Hooray!
But in the darkness, there are moments of lucidity. And you begin to smell smoke. There's a part where you could swear you can almost see it through the darkness, the smoke itself giving almost an edge. And then through it, maybe 30 feet away from you, these two large, seeming to almost stream with purple energy eyes open up. Who are you? You're not the dwarf. You're something new. And suddenly the black overtakes you again. All of you wake up. It is lighter out, significantly lighter out. The two of you up on the roof through these elements of ice bricks. Actually, you can see this kind of filtering, almost like slate blue cast to it. But then through the opening, it's sunny out. The storm seems to have passed over the course of the night.
The eyes! I saw the eyes!
Night sleep I have had.
The eyes! They found me!
What?
The eyes! The purple eyes! They said I wasn't the dwarf, but they found me!
He doesn't remember.
Good morning.
Big stairs! Big stairs!
What?
Please! Please! I have to get off! I have to tell the others!
How high up are we actually?
Tech 17 feet.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna like crawl down a bit.
Okay, make an athletics check.
After all of that, you're just gonna.
Wait, I remember
Late
that.
at night.
Yeah.
I didn't
Right.
want to go down.
Why didn't he remember?
You got his mind wiped.
I got
Because
Oh, right,
Era
right, right.
wiped his mind.
that's. Oh, that's an 18.
Okay, not too much trouble. You know, you kind of lower yourself. And there's a moment where everybody down below can see Gunter's legs just kind of dangling and kicking, looking for purchase. But eventually, you kind of drop down. You don't land very gracefully, but you land without taking damage.
Do my
You can just
morning
jump down if you want.
routines.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Morwen just leaps down, very, very graceful, quietly just lands.
Morning routine.
Okay, begin stretching. Shay, you come to, having a peaceful night's sleep. You can see Chronic kind of beginning to stir.
Oh, I barge in there. The eyes! The eyes!
Okay, Chronic
found
suddenly,
me.
you can see
They
the
found me.
feathers kind of fluffing up. Nilly also bursts awake. You can hear this as he's like in his panic kind of strums this instrument.
The eyes.
Yeah, Gunter's purple eyes. They looked at me.
So she's found you.
Yeah. Ah.
Do you know anything behind what what's her name did to Gunter?
Era.
Ira, thank you. I was gonna call her Ira. That's wrong. Do you know?
Only that she wiped his memory.
No, there was nothing in your tutelage.
I was never of that school.
Yeah, probably the most that you could do is hit somebody until they forgot.
All right.
Era
There are risks.
is far more mystical than I.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to be extra cautious with you. For what it's worth, Morn, I'm very sorry. I wish I had something at my disposal to help, and I'll do my best. You're not gonna die.
What's wrong?
Apparently, death isn't even. Look at us. This happens all the time.
Morwen, and you can see
She had a
Croddock
bad
now,
dream.
kind of over.
Very
He has
bad dream.
his spear in hand, but he's kind of like in the process of putting it back. What's wrong?
She's not gonna die, but she had one of those dreams.
Death is part of the cycle of life.
Well, immediately she's worried about. She had a terrible dream with the dragon.
This is something best discussed once we're inside.
Perhaps this
Very well.
I saw these, and I go, ta-da, and the eyes.
Okay.
All right.
Morwen, who it's worth noting, yellow with pink smiley faces.
That's
currently.
true. I
Just-
didn't change out of my pajamas.
You just put eyes on top of that.
All of a
No,
sudden,
no, it's black.
Oh,
all of
okay.
a sudden, two of the smiley faces twirl and just out into these large, probably about this big eyes that are just kind of. They have to actually wrap
Go
around
around.
your ribs.
I am going to say, though, my back is going to be turned to Gunter. I'm not trying to show him, because I'm not trying to
Okay.
resurrect these
Okay.
memories to him.
As you do it, you kind of turn and
I
shuffle.
kind
so
of
that
do
your
like
back
the
is to
jacket
Gunter.
thing, like the eyes.
So as
I
you
want some
flash the
eyes.
party,
Yeah.
you can see Croddock just kind of turn his head. Nilly gets kind of close and looks at this. He hasn't seen this change yet, and so he's kind of there's a little bit of a nervous look on his face. What'd you just do there?
No.
The wind.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm showing you.
All right. What eyes? Why is it? What are we all talking about?
How did you sleep?
Perhaps
Pretty well.
it's
Okay.
best discussed inside.
Are we not inside? I thought I went into the thingy to wake you guys
I mean,
up.
you guys are in this kind of like lean-to sort of deal. I mean, it's not
There's no closure.
right.
It's not inside.
Oh.
It's just
Okay.
out from anything above, pretty
Well,
much.
okay.
Croddock turns to you. Are we going?
We should.
Very well.
Where was
Ta-da.
the entrance again? That
Regular
Normal
armor.
clothes.
Gamble
I'm gonna go
mentioned?
up to Croddock, be like, geez, Morwen seems pretty upset about something. Maybe someone should console her.
Okay, I can help.
The
You watch as there's this very quiet exchange, and then
I'm
Croddock
kind of like shaking because I'm scared.
turns and kind of crosses the distance, kind of walking right in front of you, Shay, and he puts a hand on you.
Shaking more.
Morwen, you're shaking.
Yeah, I'm scared. And you're touching me.
And turns and looks at you. Just puts an arm around your shoulders, the wing kind of flapping out and spreading to cover you slightly, almost like a shield. I will keep you safe.
Gamble mentioned the entrance was on the west side.
Okay.
I will go scout.
That sounds wise.
I'm gonna go look for the entrance.
Should we just wait here?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
I'll take a look around the immediate area as she is doing that.
Okay, make a perception check, and you make a perception check as well.
Nope. 7 or 11 passive.
Okay. Heinrich, as you look around, you see a dwarf, a gnome, you see a tabaxi, and then you see just the back of Shay.
Yeah.
Not much else.
Where did Croddock go? Just kidding. It was a
Croddock.
terrible roll.
You don't
People just vanish in front of my eyes.
Morwen
embodied
encased
the
in
backseat.
this sort of
Like shape.
thing.
It's
Yeah,
the shape of.
she just
oh,
blocks
it's
out
a,
the rest of
it's a
Croddock.
bird. Yes.
It's one of those I Spy books.
Yeah.
Shay, as you progress and kind of wrap your way around the mountain, you walk about 50 feet, and you can again see this kind of slim rock standing out. And as you approach, get a little bit closer, you can see the back of it kind of modeled and has these sort of lines through it that are definitely artificial. You can see elements of kind of whiter stone around. And as you kind of begin to circle it at a distance, keeping a safe enough distance between you, there's this sort of shape that suggests almost like a face, and you draw a little bit closer and kind of begin to look underneath. And as you look from underneath, you can see those flat parts of rock actually sort of mask very, very simply carved sort of eyes and like an elongated snout. And this from beneath does look very much like a horse. And you would remember Gamble said
That's
when you came upon a stone formation that looked somewhat like a horse from beneath, head in the direction it's facing and you will find an entrance.
Wonderful. I will follow it to find the entrance before going back to grab everybody else.
Sure. So, approaching this sort of area, you can see there is this sort of what looks like a ice flow that has kind of melted and then refrozen over. And you would remember Gamble saying, when you come upon what looks like a frozen waterfall, walk through with no fear because it is not actually there. And coming upon it, it looks pretty real. You get this feeling of kind of cold coming off of it. You can see, looking at it now in the morning sun, this single kind of area that's like a little bit more frosted over, as if like the sun hitting it has done something to the ice. It looks like it's really there.
Wonderful. I'm going to take note of it and go back and grab everybody else.
About 20 minutes pass, not quite 20 minutes, and Shay returns.
I think I found it.
The entrance. Okay, look around. Are we all ready?
Krodok still has his arm around you.
For 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Good.
I'm ready.
Gunter, we are going to be entering Kulturam.
Oh,
Are you ready?
yeah.
All right.
Wait, is Nilly? Are you still joining us?
I do find it a little odd you're so willing to go into a place you know is dangerous too.
Well, presumably, if you found an entrance and you were only gone for about 20 minutes, I assume we're not going to Kulturam proper.
It will be the Undercity.
Huh. You guys could use me in the Undercity.
Oh.
This is good, yes. I sense something askew about you. No offense.
I expect Krodok and I will draw unwanted attention.
Oh,
Is
you
there any-
certainly will.
Is there any way you could disguise yourself?
Ah.
Would you be
Pull out my
willing?
disguise kit
Would you be
and go
willing?
over
Because
to
I also
Shay.
have one as well. We could each disguise them to at least not look like monastery
I'm gonna
members.
start
If that
putting
is
makeup on Shay's
okay.
face.
Okay.
good.
How about this? And I'm gonna be a perfect gentle lady and offer
Will this
my
require
product, my
considerable
captain's coat.
hiding.
So
it's
Krodok,
big.
The clothing.
Krodok kind of shrugs on, and again he has wings.
Yes.
So he kind of, and it comes up to here, kind of drapes down, and
Krodok is
he
also Eric Kokra.
turns
And
his
that
head a
in
little
and of
bit.
itself is an issue.
Thank you, Morwen.
The two of us will draw
I don't
attention.
feel cold in the same way that you do, though. And he kind of pulls it. It takes him a little bit, but he has to reach back and pull the coat off, and he hands it back to you.
A cloak for you, possibly, if we have one, and just any sort of, at least for the immediate visage. Maybe not the monk, your monastery's
Why don't
order.
we do the
A little bit of powder under.
Okay.
What if-
Make a performance
Sorry.
check.
I was thinking of when we did like those like bondage
Surprised
get-ups.
Shay's in
We don't
alarm.
have that ability anymore. That was Bernal who did that to us.
So, what are you
yeah.
trying to make Shay look like?
An
I
urchin.
think I've got just like, sort of like the posh dandy makeup.
Okay.
So like a lot of white.
As Gunter pulls away from Shay,
You're trying to make her look
almost,
posh?
almost
big-
like
Big fake nose.
almost
I'm sorry.
geisha in terms of the white, just universal. However, Gunter not being terribly gentle, it kind of creeps up into the lips. You have some in your nose. You get like it covers half of your eyebrow on one side, and then there is the attempt at bringing out some color in the cheeks, which are almost two like just thumb smudges.
What did you hope to achieve?
Kind of
No.
smudges it back in there, and at the moment you kind of look, and Shay looks a little bit like a clown without the lip makeup.
That's gonna draw more attention. I'm sorry. That is just not.
Well, why don't you try it?
All right.
Well,
Are
what's
you
that?
okay with this?
Really?
I'm gonna
If
ask
you've
your
been there
permission
before,
first, as
help
opposed
us out.
to
What can we
this
do?
one who just went right for it.
Well,
I mean, you
now-
certainly can try. However, I don't think it's going to change the overall.
That's what we should change.
Yes.
And I have.
I'm sorry, I don't know your name yet, but
My name is Shay.
so Shay, you said you found an entrance.
Yes.
It's not one that I'm familiar with, but what is this? Where does it lead?
Into the Undercity, as far as I know.
Okay,
That's-
but I meant more like, what part of the Undercity? Are we coming out near the glowing pillar? Are we coming out near Pillar Stairs? People's
Would I know?
neighborhood? No idea. You did
No
not
idea.
ask. Well, okay. So we're probably going to come out somewhere on the western side of the Undercity.
Logically speaking, yes.
That's the safest part for you. It's called, there's a neighborhood around the People's Pillar, which is kind of the poor folk, and if there are any humans, that's where they would be, although I've never seen one there. I've never seen an Aarakocra either, but it's the friendliest neighborhood. Still not saying much, but...
We're still going to stand out,
Right, but if we could
no
just
matter what.
if we could just make you not apparently you in easy ways, and I'm just gonna like go through my bag and
and an Aarakocra are going
yeah,
to
if
stand
you
out
wear
no
a
matter
cloak, you
what.
can't be seen. That's fine. Just we're gonna drape it all over you.
We could do that.
That's what
that
I'm
might
saying.
work. I mean,
Either that or we don't do anything and draw a lot of attention. Either way, I think a little bit of attempt is better than nothing.
I think we should let's just try to be cool.
well, now, I don't want to suggest anything, but I would imagine that some of you are pretty good at deception.
Well, sure.
No.
Well, now the Cold Rock clan...
Like trying to stay
days
out.
So you guys slept. A day has passed. It is now... It's Wednesday. Okay. So on Wednesdays, the Cold Rock clan, they have this thing called the Square of Mind. It's like a fighting ring, kind of. And they're not necessarily fights to the death. You can do, true bouts, but loser walks away with a little bit of money. The winner walks away with even more. And, there are, from time to time... Slaves is a really strong word, but there are people who are compelled to fight. And maybe, if we had some kind of manacles or something like that, we could just slap them on you and
Manacles,
your
you
friend and
say?
just kind of escort you in as if you were
Fuzzy handcuffs.
getting ready to fight.
I take out a pair of the oily manacles.
Okay. Well, and at this point, it's actually the oil itself is dried a little bit, and so it's more of like a waxy white substance. And at one point was probably lubricant, but is no longer.
I'm gonna start putting them on Nilly.
What?
You put them on, and he just
I-
pulls his hands out because he's a
Gunter.
gnome.
I will take it.
I also know people there, and I imagine quite a few will know me, so I'm okay.
So you're suggesting we go under the guise of we have brought contestants,
Well,
and that will
so I'm
allow
going
us
to use
to
the word slaves now because I think that's what they're going to have to be.
Okay, keep going.
If that's what it is, I'll take it.
So, I mean, all we really need to do, I doubt anybody's really going to call us on it, so that is our excuse, but we can generally go where we want. The only
Okay.
thing being, if we get near the Cold Rot territory and we tell them that, we're probably going to have to fight.
Well,
Well,
then
Shay's good at that, so I think it'll be fine.
let's try to avoid as much suspicion as possible if we're going into a large city that has no easy means of escape.
You can
Ah,
put them on.
sorry, message.
Don't lock them.
Can we trust this guy?
I still don't know. That's
I'm
why
putting
I'm.
a lot of faith in this guy right now.
I mean, he's had more information than we have so far, which is none. I can at least start that way. Don't even, and I would just cover and be like, don't lock them, at least.
I didn't lock them.
So,
They're not locked.
okay,
Yeah.
I can fight if needed.
right.
It's the illusion.
What do we do about product?
Same
I
thing,
take
I
out
suppose.
another pair of oily
Do you have
manacles.
more than one pair? Oh my god.
I have one more idea, maybe. So in the People's District, if that's where we come out near, there is a, it's called the Mud Baths. It's supposed to be like a rejuvenating kind of, like a like a medical thing, I guess. I don't really understand it much myself, but most people do take off their clothes when they go in.
Okay.
If you're not above a little bit of thievery, maybe we could find something more suitable.
I mean, that's their language.
I kind of like this Nelly.
I will say, so one of the reasons I've been asking about this is, especially in the Undercity, magic is
We
kind
get
of...
in if we can find a place to settle. Krodok and I can hide, and the rest of you can suss out where we're going.
I suppose that's not the worst idea. That one sits with me the
what's
best.
wrong with the manacles?
It doesn't sit well with me whatsoever.
It's a way to in.
That way in, yes, and then split, hide, sneak around,
We can
whatever.
wait for you, or
Right. Yes.
whatever it takes.
And you were saying magic is not really looked upon, huh?
Well,
Kindly?
no, so it's not so much about most people, but you find magic users don't really stick around for a long time. One of the problems that the Undercity has is we have this kind of group of goblins, and individually they're not bad, but if they get you in an alley alone, they really don't like magic users. Something about their superstitions, and so they'll rough you up if you're a normal person. They'll take what you have, but if you use magic, they're liable to carve your heart out.
I'd like to see them try.
Well, part of what I was asking about
I
in terms of
have
your
no
magic.
heart. No, I'm just kidding.
Again, Krodok and I are likely to draw the most attention.
Right, well, we'll get you in and hide you, and then you'll be in, and we know where you are, and I don't know what else.
Manacles again.
How big of a risk are we looking to take? I got one more idea, but I don't much like entertaining it. But if we're meant to part ways, I could suggest it.
Well, what do you tell us? All of them.
Well, so the Cold Rock clan, they're sort of in charge, I guess. There's no real laws in the Undercity. But if anybody was in charge, it would be them. They operate out of a very large establishment called the Dark Hive. The Dark Hive is part casino, part hotel. But there's rumors that it stretches out pretty far, and there's some darker things in there. The guy who runs the place, as far as I can tell, is a bugbear named Yambo. Yambo, he can do pretty much anything. So if we need to hide people, he could hide them. But there's always a price.
As in coin or otherwise?
Typically, you ask what you want, and he'll get it for you, and then he'll give you the price. And you agree upon that before you know what it is.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, neither do I. So it's a possibility, but it's something that I would be real wary of.
I like the manacles.
I mean,
Or, if
That
any of you
seems
have
the-
ideas, I can tell you a little bit more about the city, but
that would probably be best. We kind of walking in completely blind.
well, what do you want to know?
Well, where?
How big of a city is this?
It's pretty big. So,
Huge.
yeah, well, distance-wise, it's not long. It takes about half an hour to walk from pillar to pillar. There's 6 of them, but it's 2 by 3. It's vertical, though, depending on the pillar that you go to. So the Dark Hive stretches up at least 5 stories. Pillar of the People, at least 8, I think, although there was an accident, so maybe now 7. The Goblin Gables, I think, goes all the way to the top, but nobody really goes in there. It's a pretty large city. You don't see a lot of folk like Shay, or like your bird friend, or actually not a ton of dwarves, although a few. But you're going to stand out. You're not from Coltron. A few tieflings, you'd be fine. I haven't really seen many of you in Dominion, period, so I would imagine you're going to stand out pretty much everywhere you go.
I sure do.
Okay. Well,
Is there much room in the way of entertainment in this place? Maybe if we went under the guise of a traveling troupe of some kind.
where are my notes?
Maybe we have some acrobats. We have some magician joke tellers.
I'd be an acrobat.
Acrobat as well.
So
You get the idea.
The entertainment again. There are games that people play. I mean, there's if you're good at acting, maybe you could go to the Dark Hive, the casino. There's Bluffer's Cup. There's Gagram. There's.
How many of these has Gunter already played and knows?
You've played Bluffer's Cup for
Okay.
sure.
I think that's the cup game that I have. Is it?
Yeah, it is.
It's Liar's Dice, but different.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, and Square of Might, I mean, let me see. You could try. I mean, you could really just try just about anywhere on the street corners, but it's not a real. It's not a friendly place.
Right. So
There
the
are no
idea-
laws, so if you want to go and stab somebody in the street, you can. And I don't know how many bad jokes you've heard, but sometimes I feel like stabbing people telling them. So I think, I mean, you could try the Bleeding Stout. You could try.
I mean, should we at least just go to this entrance and see where it leads before we even go all the way in? Maybe that would give us a better idea, just looking at what we have to do, what we have to overcome. Because all of this just ruminating outside is only going to get us a half-baked idea at best.
I don't disagree. We can kind of just try to figure it out.
Should we head to where you saw the entrance?
I can lead you there.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I
If
think
we're all
you guys
ready.
should just have the
Alright.
manacles though, just in case.
Yeah, that seems like plan number one, the one that had the most traction, I suppose.
We can go in that way. And
Nilly
go
looks
from
down
there.
and just kind of
Correct.
picks the manacles up off the ground and just hands them to you.
To me?
Yeah. As you were
Crouch
saying,
right
you want
next
to
to
take
you.
them, right?
I still have them kind of on.
It was, Neely is
Well,
giving
we
them
don't
to
need
you.
to do
I
this
know,
right
but
now.
I'm putting it on.
Let's at
chronic,
least
right?
get. Well, let's wait till we're inside. We don't need to
It's-
bind them before we even enter. Let's see where we're going. Let's get to what I'm assuming will be a tunnel, which will be hopefully vacant, and then from there
It's not
approach
that
the
far.
city. Yeah, let's
Onward.
exactly.
Very well. You guys progress onward and towards the area that you had indicated, walking about 20 minutes, probably closer to 30, with some members of your party being a little slower. But as you approach this rock. That as you draw close and Shay leads you underneath, you can look up and see there is this kind of carved horse's head that seems to descend. Almost natural, but not quite. There has been work done to it. And Shay turns and heads off in the direction that it's facing, this ice flow that seems to drift down the mountain. And as you guys walk, Shay, are you just walking through?
Yep.
Okay.
No fear. Like, just straight in.
Okay. Roll for me a d4.
That is a 3.
Okay. You watch as Shay strides in and her shoulder just seems to clip something. She vanishes into the ice, but you kind of just hit the edge of what's real with your shoulder and kind of bounce a little bit off. But as you pass through, it is a strange sensation. You feel like the first inch or so, it feels as if your face is freezing, but you step through and emerge into what is in fact a tunnel. Uneven, and you can see areas in the rock that look as if they've been worked away with picks. Who's following?
Using where she bumped, I'm gonna just like go up and
So your hand slides across ice until all of a sudden it doesn't,
then I'll walk through.
and you walk through. Krodok follows you, kind of stopping midway through, kind of an uncomfortable expression on his face, and he turns. Mormon, are you coming?
Yep.
He vanishes in.
I'm not coming. No, I'm just
Follow.
kidding. Yeah, I join.
I'm following
it.
like all according to plan.
There's this brief moment where, as he hears you say that, as you disappear, Nilly kind of stops. This is again like a camera's in on him thing, and he just goes, "Oh no!" Steps through. And because it is 12, 20 almost, that is where we're going to end.
Oh my god, you guys. We've made it to a destination.
You guys are now technically within Mount Turam, so fantastic.
Die.
Yeah,
We have not died.
you have not died. So, thank
Very
you guys.
technically, though.
Yeah, technically you did.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Gain death.
By all
feigned dying. It's not
It's
actually.
got it in the name.
That's true.
You were 0.5
You
dead.
appeared to die. So thank you guys all very much for joining us this evening. We'll be back, I think, next Friday, maybe, assuming that we're not sheltering in place.
Exactly.
We'll be here next Friday at
All
8:30
real world
p.m.
things aside.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out as we go.
So speaking of which, everybody take care, wash your hands.
Stay safe. Don't lick each other.
Don't
Don't spit in each
Lick
other's
each
eyeballs.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly think about it, and if Gunter would do it, don't do it. that would keep you safe.
Lick each
But
other.
we'll be back next Friday, so thank you guys all so much for the support, and we'll see you then. Good night.